thought we're going live.
Oh, Mr. Potter.
Hey, you guys, I wanted to know, can I borrow $200?
Sure. Only if you guarantee that I'm going to get paid back.
Yeah, you know I'm good for it.
You know.
But I can always use some new kicks.
Will you groom me? Bathe me?
Feed
Wash me?
Feed me, Seymour.
Feed me. Feed me. I don't need $200 that bad.
Neither do I.
That's about all we're gonna say about that.
It's
so childish.
I don't even need that money, and I'm the one going to San Diego. How funny is that?
Yeah.
Woo! Let's go. Boom!
Pow!
What's
Pow!
up, everybody? We lost somebody. He's like, I'm out of here. Fuck
It was
this.
so intense of an ending that it pushed Phil out.
Yeah. He's like, I'm going to San Diego right now.
It was just too much. It was too much.
I'm sorry. What the fuck?
He was so excited that he had to go.
What's up, everybody? How you guys doing today? Guys, thank you for joining us on episode 180.
Hi.
There he is. He's rocking the Green Lantern shirt. You know, it's funny. I wore a Flash shirt to work because it was like superhero day, and everybody was like,
nice.
"Oh, are you a big Sheldon fan?" And I was like, "I'm pretty sure he wore a Green Lantern shirt." No, he
wore
wore a
both.
Flash shirt.
He wore
I
both.
think he did
He
both.
wore
But I
both.
was like, "What the hell?"
I mean, on occasion, he even wore an Aquaman shirt too, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken. The exact one Sean's wearing, nonetheless, too. Yeah.
Oh wow! Well, there
Yeah,
you go.
I did a Blue Beetle exact same design. I was looking at it, I was like, wow. I was like, I thought that was just akin to just Blue Beetle, but I guess it's not for Aquaman too. I was like, that's pretty
Aquaman
cool.
too. Got the matching hat to go with it.
Yeah.
I don't want your money. I want Aquaman.
Oh man. Well, and Sheldon also dressed up. I think they all dressed up as the Flash, right?
They did.
Yeah.
Yes.
They say
Yes.
they did. And they
Oh
were gonna-
yeah, it was
Because they were
by
going to
accident,
play on.
yeah.
They were gonna play on the effect of they're all kind of running behind each other. So it was
Oh yeah, that's what it
fast.
was.
Yeah.
What's up, Dwayne
What up?
Jackson?
What's up,
What's
guys?
up, man? Austin Lynn saying, "What's up?" Got a new
Yo.
profile picture. It's literally a
Mhm.
profile picture. That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, he grew his hair out.
Wamba says, "Hey fellas,"
What up?
and Sokolov
Yevgeny.
Art says, "Hey everybody, what's going on,
Yo.
man?"
Sup.
Howdy, howdy.
What's up?
Yevgeny is how you pronounce the first name. Yevgeny Sokolov. Sokolov's actually the name of a villain in the Metal Gear franchise. Anyway, so guys, welcome to the 4Nerds. Welcome to the 4Nerds. We have some pretty cool topics we're going to be talking about because now we have some shows
Okay.
that are underway and it's really exciting. So
Okay.
we're going to be talking about The Boys season 4. We're going to be talking about The Acolyte, which has been a source of controversy, and we'll talk about that a little bit. We're also going to be talking about some other news that broke just recently, such as like Spaceballs, Mad Max, that shit. So that should be fun to talk about. And of course, the one show that Ryan doesn't watch, House of the Dragon. We're going to be talking about that as well. I know the three of us watch it. Ryan, he'll just continue to draw.
Yeah.
But having said that, I don't know, Phil, did you have a chance to go to the movies this week at all?
No, but I did watch a movie this
Oh, that's
past
good.
weekend. I did catch Richard Linklater and Glenn Powell's Hitman on.
Oh,
saw
you
that.
know,
Yeah, I
wanted
saw
to
that.
see that. Was it good?
Very good. Very
I
good.
liked it until the very end, when the culmination in the apartment. There was a little moment in there that happened. And I was like, oh man, it was so much tension, and then there wasn't.
Then there wasn't.
And then there
Yeah.
wasn't.
And then but it was really the movie up until then really built up well until that one little thing that happened. I was like, oh man, it could have gone so many different ways, but it went that way. And I was like,
What was the movie that had Ryan Reynolds cameo as like?
oh, Deadpool.
No, you watched it, Ryan. You were like, yeah. Then all of a sudden they reveal who the guy actually was, and it
It's
was
Bullet Train.
Bullet Train. And it was
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
Ryan Reynolds.
You didn't like Bullet Train?
David Leitch directed it. That's why.
Oh man, I thought Bullet Train was pretty.
I
good.
didn't see it. Ryan saw it in the theater, and he was saying, he's like, I didn't understand
Saw
what
that in
the
the
fuck was
theater.
the point of that.
Saw that one. in the theater
Yeah,
when it came
yeah.
out. Saw that on a date actually. That was a
Oh.
date.
Good
movie
old
for me.
Brad Pitt.
Ooh, on a date, huh?
Yeah, way back when that movie came out, I saw that on.
Yeah, I almost forgot that movie.
I had fun with it. I had a lot of fun with it. I thought there were a lot
I
of.
bet you
interesting characters there.
did.
That's what she said.
Can
It's
I
like,
say?
from
I'm a
what
ladies' man.
movie I caught.
When I want to be, anyway.
So let's go to our first. Let's go to some tweets that are out there about
Okay.
some breaking news in the movie industry, and then we'll go into our topics of The Boys, Acolyte, and House of the Dragon. So let's start with that. Spaceballs sequels in development at Amazon MGM Studios. Josh Gad is attached to star. Who is he going to play? That's what I want to know. As well as produce alongside Mel Brooks. So Mel Brooks is involved with this project, which is like, thank God. But guys, what do you think about a sequel to Spaceballs? What, like 30, 40 years later? Ryan, let's start with you.
I think it's fine. I think Disney has provided a whole litany of things that can be made fun of in the Star Wars universe, as well as other. And Star Wars is like the main focus, but they do parody other sci-fi movies and things like that. So I think it's fine. I want something fun and edgy. I don't know how vanilla this is going to be, but
I don't think it's going to be edgy. I think it's just going to be a parody
with Josh
of...
Gad attached or starring rather. I'm sorry, reading
and producing.
starring. I'm not over the moon because I don't think he's a great actor.
Well, I think he's one of the. Yeah, I was gonna say I think he was part of the creative process in kind of making this happen. So for him, I'm sure he's stoked. But I mean, I feel like who is he gonna play in the movie? Is he gonna play Barf?
He could be a young Barf, but or he could be somebody completely different. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if they would go prequel or if they would go sequel or
well,
if they would do both.
They said it's going to be a sequel. It says Spaceball sequel. So why would it be a prequel?
No, because it
says sequel
for fun.
Though. It says sequel.
It's a sequel, but
It
if they don't call it Search for More Money,
sequel prequel,
then we might have problems.
Pizza. If he's going to play anybody, I'm hoping that it's not Barf. And I'm hoping that it's not Rick Moranis' character. Which I could see him playing that character as well. I mean, obviously, look, we know Rick Moranis is not going to come back. I mean, I don't think he will because he's retired from acting. But maybe he'll
be a spoof on Adam Driver's character, and it would probably be a cross between Lord Helmet and what was his fucking name?
President Screw.
No. Adam Driver's solo
Kylo Ren. The Acolyte.
No, that's Darth Smiley. We'll get with that.
Did you think it looked like a big smile?
It would look like a big smile. I was like, it reminded me of the Batman Who Laughs. That's what it reminded me of. And the back of the helmet was Kylo Ren.
I don't remember the back of the helmet, but obviously John Candy's not going to be in it. So, may he rest in peace. He's one of the greatest actors ever.
And Rick Moranis will not also be in it because he just fucking left.
Well,
Hollywood.
He might come back for this.
No,
Who knows?
If he didn't come back for Ghostbusters, he's not coming back.
Yeah.
If he wasn't going to come back for Ghostbusters, there's no way he's coming back for this.
Phil, are you excited for Spaceballs 2?
I mean, I don't know. I never really liked or loved the first. I mean, I don't hate it, right? Like I've seen it a handful of times, but there's like a few parody movies that I'll throw on because I genuinely like them, and then there's ones that I just know and I'm like, yeah, cool, whatever.
Yeah.
I saw this news yesterday, and I pulled aside my Star Wars buddy at work, and I was like, how does this make you feel? And he's a bit older than me. He was like, no. And I was like, you feel that strong about it? He's like, you don't touch Spaceballs. And I was like, okay, fair. I mean, from like a conceptual, like creative standpoint, I don't know why you would do it. I mean, yeah, I guess to Ryan's point, given how much Disney and other, sci-fi adventures now have given stuff, like I understand why you'd want to try and do a sequel now. And Mel Brooks being a part of it, it's like, yeah, okay, yeah, I suppose maybe it's time to do another sequel to it, maybe. But the fact that John Candy's not in it, Rick Moranis probably won't be in it, I'm just like, you guys have kind of a bar to lift to, and I'm not sure that they might reach it, but we do have a super chatter we should get to before we move on.
Oh damn!
Oh, let's see. We got Dwayne Jackson with the $50 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Dwayne. Jackson. He writes, another director walks out the door for the Blade movie. Wesley Snipes trolling, LOL. Jordan Peele meeting with Marvel about a potential project. What is Marvel's problem? If Peele wants it, I think he would say no, because he wants to see the script first. So this has been a huge issue when it comes to the movie Blade. They just can't seem to get it right. And I don't know if it's a case where the studio wants it to be more of one way and every director that's been attached to this wants to go a different way, which could be that they want it to be more darker, more violent, more closer to rated R. And maybe that's not what, Marvel Studios wants to do. I mean, Phil, what do you think is wrong with Blade? Why can't they get this rolling?
I'm typing a message. Honestly, I feel like the reason that the hard reason they can't get it rolling is they probably can't decide on a script, number one. But it seems like they have, because Eric Pearson, forget the guy's name, who's done a lot of punch up work on a lot of Marvel scripts lately. He's been hired to punch up Michael Green's script. So I feel like if that's the case, maybe they finally have a script they're happy with. But as far as like being the second director they've lost, this is almost like the Flash for Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
This film has been in development hell since it was announced. And I'm even more shocked that Mahershala Ali is still signed on to play the character. Clearly, he has some kind of passion to continue being signed on and playing the character. He just signed on for the next Jurassic World film, who's going to be directed by Gareth Edwards, which is even more surprising to me. But honestly, I feel like this should be a really easy movie for them to make, and they've just kind of twiddled their thumbs at how this is going to fit. It's almost kind of like Ant-Man in a sense, but the thing with Ant-Man that they just kept putting off, Edgar Wright kept getting busy with other stuff. And then finally, by the time they decided to finally make Ant-Man, they wanted to do a bunch of different stuff with it, like include a couple different Avengers. And Edgar Wright was like, no, I don't want to do that. And that eventually led to Edgar Wright being like, deuces, you can still use my script, but I'm not going to direct this movie. And then Marvel went and got Peyton Reed. I feel like that's exactly what's going to happen with Blade. They're going to settle on a director for hire who's just going to do exactly what they say, based on the script that Pearson probably punched up. And if that's the case, hopefully Mahershala Ali is still around to be playing the role. I don't know that he will be, but it'd be nice because I think he's a fantastic actor. And as far as Wesley Snipes throwing shade, I mean, he made a snowmobile joke about and one about daywalkers. Like, he's clearly just like, yeah, we made it look easy. Okay, yeah, you made the first two movies look easy. That third film ain't much to talk about. I'm sorry. Like, you may have a trilogy, but that third one ain't nothing to boast about.
Oh, the one with Ryan Reynolds. And,
right. And he's arguably the best part of that fucking movie.
Yeah, I mean, it's not a terrible movie. It's not a good movie, but like if it was on, I'd watch it. But it's not a great movie at all. The first one's the best one, if you ask me.
Because of the director.
I prefer the second one, honestly.
Really?
The second one's the best.
Guillermo del Toro. Yeah.
Yeah, but
it was darker. It was. I didn't like the battle at the end with Steven Dorff, where he was just like he was bloody Jello guy, and I was like, that's weird. I mean, it was cool. It was a great movie. I like
the opening scene. The opening.
Oh yeah,
scene
with them in the club.
That was badass.
Yeah, that was badass.
Well, the second one also has Ron Perlman. You put Ron Perlman in anything, it's automatically just going to be better.
Well, and the visuals were definitely upgraded for the second one too.
Amen.
Oh yeah. But the thing too was that like when he teams up with that team of other like vampire or the vampire team, most of that team fucking sucked ass except for a few of them.
Except for the brother and sister.
Like that?
The brother and sister, they died, didn't they? And then
I think the sister survived, right?
The sister survived, but the brother died. The brother
died. And the other guy, I think his name was Church or something like that.
You're talking about the guy with the gimpy leg?
I don't know, but he had long hair. He died first. He was like, weird. We're like, dude, this guy sucks. But anyway, it's besides the point. No, I think that even if you were to try and get a guy like Jordan Peele, he'd want to do it his way. And if you're going to hire him, it has to be his way for the most part. And so I think, like what Phil was saying, they're going to get somebody who's just going to come in and say, yeah, whatever you want, I'll just do it.
Oh, by the way, as far as Jordan Peele being like with Marvel, I doubt that one bit. He's already said he has no interest in doing superhero movies. Yeah. So I'm sure he probably took the call as a courtesy and maybe met with Kevin Feige and just said, yeah, sure, whatever. And then never really gave it any more thought than that. If he winds up directing a Marvel movie, I'll be legitimately surprised,
It's
because
just,
that just doesn't at all seem like something he'd be interested in.
yeah, he kind of seems to me like another like M. Night Shyamalan. You know, like they're not. I wouldn't see him doing a superhero movie either. They do their own things.
I'm not Shyamalan. That was I don't know. I think he's better than him, but when it comes to Blade, I just feel like I still feel that eventually it's going to become a Disney Plus show, because they just can't seem to get it right. And I think that
they'll go animated.
I think
no,
I don't think a show necessarily, but I think it has the chance to become like a Marvel Spotlight, like Werewolf by Night.
I mean, you have a better chance of getting him to cameo and appear in a movie, another Marvel movie, to establish him, than you do having his own movie. It's like, Jesus. But I mean, Sean, what do you think?
Well, they get so yeah. I mean, I agree with Phil as far as it's definitely turning into the Flash for Marvel, right? I mean, because even before we got this announcement about the director changing, 2 weeks prior to that, we got the push out date news that they were pushing the date out again. So it seems like every 2 to 3 weeks, something else happens with this movie, and I think at this point, no one's really surprised, and I think many people are getting to the point no one really cares anymore, because this was announced, in 2019 that this was, people were getting signed on to do this film, and now we're 5 years in and 2 directors down. I'm sure there's been plenty of script changes. Who cares? I mean, they don't obviously. I think with Deadpool and Wolverine, I think that's the biggest chance they're probably willing to take at this point for R-rated film, like I don't want to say a hard R, but a pretty R-rated film. And unless they're just waiting to see how that pans out before they say, okay, we'll do another Blade film that's rated R, but that's violent. We'll see if this one first pays off, and if it does, then okay, we'll start pushing a little bit harder to get Blade done. But otherwise, it just seems like they like to play the safe game of, yeah, we don't like the ultra violent rated R type films. We're going to keep them as much as PG-13 as possible, and that's not Blade. Blade's not a PG-13 film.
It's not.
Or character, I should say. And if they try to make it a PG-13 character, then you might as well just put it right to Disney Plus, make it like a 2-3 episode series, and call it a day.
Yeah, I don't think it's a priority. I agree with RJ as well. It's not a priority, and I think
if it was a priority, it wouldn't be 5 years into this and still nothing's happening.
If it was a priority, it would have been greenlit and done by the time Eternals was released. Yeah, because that was the first time you ever heard his character was at the end of that movie, and it's clearly not. Son of a bitch! I'll be right back, guys.
All right,
no worries.
Let's see. I can tap into Phil's camera. Let me see. I'm turn on right now. Let's see what he's doing. Okay, here we go.
Oh no!
Meow. There he is.
Oh, he's sleeping. Oh, he looks
poor
so
guy.
cute.
Wookiee Jedi.
Wookiee Jedi.
That is so stupid.
He's so tired.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Okay, so he left at the wrong time. So I was about to talk about the Acolyte, but well, I mean, shit. Let's talk about the Acolyte for that matter.
Right, so,
I'm sure we'll still be talking about it when he gets back.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so let's talk about the Acolyte episode 4. So we finally got a chance to see episode 4 after the most controversial episode, which was episode 3. And 2 of the things that were pointed out by a lot of Star Wars fans were, one, they included preferred pronouns in Star Wars, and they included the Jedi who was in episode 1. What was his name, Ryan?
Oh, Plo Koon. Yeah.
Not Plo Koon, the other guy.
Well, he was there.
I don't think he was there. I
He
think
was
mistaken
there.
him.
He was there, but also Ki-Adi-Mundi, who you don't know. But
Yeah,
both
Ki-Adi-Mundi,
of those Jedi are in this episode.
And
Plo Koon is actually of age. It's fine for him to be in there. Ki-Adi-Mundi actually would have been 0 years old if you go
because
well,
apparently
that doesn't really matter because Legends doesn't exist anyway.
It doesn't matter.
But see,
Episode
that's
one
the thing,
exists.
though, is that okay? So you could say
What?
Legends doesn't exist within the wait, what? Oh, you're reading the chat.
What?
No, Phil said what? I was like, huh?
What?
What?
Yeah.
What?
I don't understand. Like that's a nothing burger to get mad about his age because
I don't care.
It's a fictional character.
I think it's
It's
yeah,
a fictional
it's
character.
a fictional character, but and the only thing that I can say that's positive about Ki-Adi-Mundi being there is that they made him look like him. It's actually
A younger version of him.
Yeah, it was good makeup. It was and whoever portrayed him, did a good job. So it wasn't the most destructive thing. There's many other problems in the Acolyte that than just Ki-Adi-Mundi. I mean, that's not a big deal at all.
I think
if this is oh my god, if this is in reference to the whole the Sith have been extinct, that is completely
millennia.
It's it's redundant. Darth Plagueis' very existence makes that whole fucking argument redundant and moot, and it does not matter. The Sith have existed. Boo hoo. The people clinging to that line need to fucking get the fuck over it and cry.
And that was a huge point of controversy. Everybody was like, "Oh,
yeah, it is." I mean, look, I get it, but there is no other than there was a book. But that's not canon, so who gives a fuck? But just the mention of Darth Plagueis, we don't know how old he is or when he was, or what, even if Palpatine was his actual, or Sidious rather, was actually his apprentice. He was just like, if you heard this story about Darth Plagueis, which was a legend.
Phil, you said you have to go?
Yeah, I gotta go help my brother. He's got his truck fucked up, and the guy at AutoZone gave him his wrong brake. So I'll be back as soon as I can.
Okay.
But just for the record, if anyone wants to read anything positive about the Acolyte, my review is up on multiversecolor.com.
There
just
we go.
There you go.
There you go.
But yeah, I will see you guys in a little while. I'll try and be back as soon as I can.
Okay, yeah. Do what you gotta do, man.
All right, man. Be safe.
Okay, now let's trash
it.
All right,
and now for everyone else who actually understands how stories should be written.
Damn! Okay, so let's talk about the Acolyte episode 4.
Oh my god, it's the most ridiculous, redonkulous fucking thing I've seen. It's just it contradicts itself within the first 4 fucking episodes. The girls are contradicting their own fucking views. It's stupid as fuck. It makes it makes the Book of Boba Fett look like a fucking masterpiece.
Yes. The Book of Boba Fett looks like The Godfather Part 2.
Or Empire Strikes Back.
Empire Strikes Back. That's a better example.
I hate my sister, but I love her to death. I'm gonna shoot towards her, but I'm gonna miss her.
And RJ is right. May was like, you know what? I don't want to be a bad guy. I'm going to turn myself into Jedi.
I tried to kill my sister. She'll forgive me. So will the Jedi. Everybody will forgive me.
And I'm sorry, but it's so obvious at this point that Discount Ezra Miller is the Acolyte.
If he's not, then this whole setup that they did, while they're walking and talking and like your master would love you to kill the fucking Jedi. And it was like, if it's not fucking Discount Ezra Miller, and it turns out to be like Leslie's fucking wife, that's the green lady. I don't know what the fuck her name is. But if it turns out to be her, fucking Mary Poppins, she's fucking like floating down at the end, like, oh, I was like, what the fuck is this?
and Wamba, like, it's one thing for them to complain about all that, right? And that's fine, and it is what it is. But my biggest complaint is that the writing for this story is shit. The writing is not very good at all.
It's not. It contradicts itself within its own narrative.
Yeah,
both
you can tell that she thought so hard about this. She thought so hard about this that she thought, okay, I'm going to add these elements in the story. It's going to make it go, it's going to really change things up. But really, all it does is contradicts itself. And on top of that, like, look, Kathleen Kennedy has given Hedlund way too much creative freedom to do whatever she wanted to, with this story. And I think that's been one of the biggest problems with Disney Star Wars, is that Kathleen Kennedy has essentially been like, hey, I'm going to give the directors like so much freedom that they can change canon and story whenever they want to, instead of being like, hey, you can do your story, but it has to fall within these parameters of the universe and of the canon. That doesn't exist. It's just like, hey,
they're just like, hey, whatever works, but it doesn't really work. But whatever works for you works for me. And another problem is that Lucasfilm has a writing team. They have actual fucking writers that are supposed to be there to kind of like help shit along, fucking, work with continuity. Continuity is a big
Dave Filoni thing. For crying out loud. Dave Filoni's supposed to be
doing his own shit. He
to
doesn't care. He's like, I got my Ahsoka. Leave
They're
me
like,
alone.
hey, Dave, do you want to read the Acolyte? Oh, it looks good. I'm working on a Ahsoka movie. Go away.
He's like Lord Helmet in the Spaceballs. They're like, Lord Helmet. He's like, no, I told you never to bother me when I'm playing with my toys. I didn't see you playing with your dolls again. It's Ahsoka.
The bald green lady's character makes no sense, even more now, unless she's evil. She's
That's the
hardcore
only
about
thing.
the rules and the Jedi traditions, but she hides this information from the council. Exactly, like you can't trust her. So obviously,
Ezra Miller or her.
She has
the only reason why I say it's her is because Leslie, it's her wife.
Yeah.
So like, hey, you want to have this?
She's
awesome
not
role?
the Acolyte. She's not the Acolyte, but I bet you she's working with somebody else, if not the Acolyte, to to the hero's demise. You know what I mean? It's gonna be revealed that she's a villain in this. It's so stupid.
Hey Connor, thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Now this right here, I can agree with you here, but I also, a lot of people clowned on it. I thought it was the best thing of the episode was the force push. I was like, holy fuck. It was just like
the force push was cool, but then it was like, and it was like,
they're like, what are we gonna do to make them watch next week? I know.
It's like this. It's like the fuckers showed up. They all bust out their lightsabers, and there was 3 yellow lightsabers. Which I was like, really? You had to go with 3?
Well, yeah, they're like, Rey is not special either.
Yeah, we had him too.
We had him too. Yeah, we had him 100 years. No, 100 years prior.
But not only that, but then he grabs OSHA and throws her out of the way, which is an OSHA violation. And then on top of that, they bust out their lightsabers, and then as soon as he force pushes them, right, you're like, oh shit, that was cool. It's like you see him do that big force push, and as soon as they hit the ground, it's like it was like, wait, what? I was like, why isn't it? And it wasn't even me saying like, wait, no, I want more. It was like, why'd they end the episode there? It was just weird. Sean.
Yeah, so fuck, I am just so checked out of this entire show. The
only reason why I watch it is because of Andre.
Well, no, I hope it's because of the show.
I know. You're like, have you seen it? I was like, oh god,
you need to go watch this right now. Talking about it tonight. No, so I mean, like I said last week, I was totally willing to give this show a chance going into it, right? I was hoping by this episode.
There's a Wampa behind you.
It is. Right?
I'm gonna ride the Rancor. We're gonna jump the shark.
That's my Wookiee.
Fuck!
Okay, wait, let Sean talk.
Yeah, I'm going to touch on that part too. Okay, so like I said last week, I give these shows a chance. I don't really listen to the noise. I wanted to see what this was going to be about, but this episode, Andre, you and I kind of talked offline. Like the noise was loud on this episode, and at first I was like, wait, what's going on? What did I miss?
I didn't notice that because I watched it this morning and I put the closed captions on because everybody else is sleeping. So I didn't hear any noise issues. I was just like, okay, I was just reading.
Yeah. So this morning I got up and I watched it as well. And I was like, fuck, this can't be happening. So I again, like I mentioned last week, I think it was on episode 3. By the time I got to episode 3, I had already checked out 10, 15 minutes in after before it was over. I was already checking out. Like, I'm not even interested in this now. I'm not even paying attention. And I felt the same way with this. And this was a much shorter episode compared to the others. It was about 10 minutes shorter runtime.
Thank God. I was relieved. I was like, oh, cool. I can go move on now.
Yeah, I can move on with my life now.
Yeah, I was like, back to drawing.
Back to drawing. Back to coloring. Yeah, it just to your guys' point. I mean, the character development with May and Osha just flip flopping, kind of just whichever way the wind blows is how I think I'm going to feel right at this very moment.
It's like they're so one dimensional.
Yeah,
and they're both the same, one dimensional, and they both flip flop over how they feel about shit.
Yeah,
and like it contradicts itself within the episode, and I'm like, that's poor writing.
And as that was happening, especially in this episode, again, I felt myself, okay, I'm starting to check out because now I'm really not caring about this at all. And then as we get towards the end, I mean, everyone was making a big deal about wanting to see the Wookiee Jedi going into this. And
They
then
built him up.
they what?
They built him up. They were like, "Hey,
Exactly.
look, check out this awesome, fucking Wookiee guy," and these two,
Yep.
yeah, there he is, and these two, like, what do you call them, pirates or whatever?
Carrie Ann Moss.
Yeah.
and yeah, I mean,
Trinity.
oh god. So I'm sorry, but like, the if y'all are talking about how he got cut, like that shit would have fucking singed. It would have fucking cauterized. It wouldn't have killed him. If it didn't kill fucking Reva, if it didn't kill Darth Maul, if it didn't kill everybody except for fucking Qui-Gon and this guy, then
The Jedi need to up their training then.
they need up there to like, we need to have some like anti-lightsaber girdles.
Or some plates or something. Put some plates on. But I mean, but to your
or maybe
point,
a couple other stomachs.
to your point, they built
Maybe he's got two stomachs like a cow.
they built this character up like they did Carrie Ann Moss's character, and we saw what happened with that. And with this one, you see him briefly cooking his dinner,
Yeah.
outside, cooking up some greens, cooking up some, whatever.
He was
And then-
cooking
and then next thing you know,
up some of them greens.
yeah, we see him. Next thing you know, we see him again, and he's dead. It's like
And he's dead.
He's
It's
dead.
like,
Yeah,
what?
Did he even get
So-
to even enjoy his dinner before he died?
Yeah, he died with a full belly.
And,
So,
and the one of the another big issue is like, okay, and I know me and Andre talked about this before, but they're gonna have to reveal some shit, some reason why the Jedi are fucking running, going off into hiding, committing suicide or whatever, drinking poison. Like, there's got to be something more, because fucking May and everybody sees it. You saw the episode, unless you're like, oh, you saw it from a certain point of view. But no, she fucking said, I'm gonna kill you, and fucking set the place on fire.
I mean,
Yeah.
that was sadistic. It was like, what are you doing? You're gonna fucking burn her alive? What are
You're gonna burn her alive. And I was like, that's your no, you want to destroy the family and leave with the Jedi. Well, I'm gonna kill you and destroy the family as you try to leave with the Jedi. It's like, what the fuck? That's the
Yeah.
It's the stupidest logic.
Well, even at the end, when we have now what we're supposedly seeing to be the villain who brings out their own lightsaber with the red, so everyone's automatically assuming Sith, which I've read throughout the day. Well, it could be a Sith, it may not be a Sith. We don't know if it's a Sith.
The thing is
and I'm like, okay, well, to Andre's point earlier, is that's like so much rope has been given from a creative perspective. It's like, what are we really watching here?
well, the
right?
the showrunner, the show creator, one of her little things that she said was that I want to show the Sith perspective. So yes, everyone is going to look at it and say, yes, Sith, because the showrunner said she's going to show the, X, Y, and Z of the Sith perspective, Sith persuasion. So if the Acolyte is not a Sith, then there is no Sith.
Yeah.
I
And
think
the other thing that stood out to me, so real quick, Andre, one thing
Yeah.
that stood out to me that
Yeah, shut up,
last
Andre.
scene, yeah, shut up, Andre, come on, son, was when the when the Jedi all pulled out their sabers, it looked like they were holding
Only
like
a Sith deals in absolutes.
it looked like they were all holding like mag flashlights, so like those big round flashlights. It's like
Look,
they don't look like
and they and Disney Star Wars, and this is just my opinion, is that they don't treat it like it's a weapon.
Yeah.
They treat it like it's a cool toy.
yeah.
Like,
And that's what these look like. They look like they're toy. They
they
they're
look like the
knockoff
shit that you
toys.
get at their fucking, at Florida and fucking California. You go to the fucking Disney place and you spend $200 on a damn, lightsaber. It looks like it, because those things are fucking bulky,
Yeah, that's what I'm talking
and it's like, no, dude, it's got to be
Maybe
easier
that's
on
what
the
they
hand.
did. Maybe that's what they did. They said, all the actors who are playing these roles, we're going to pay you to go to Disney, build your own lightsabers, and then bring them to the film set.
I would feel better if they shot. Oh,
Yeah, look at
okay.
these. I mean, look at them. I mean,
They
come
look
on.
they look like toys.
they're
Another
toys.
problem that I have is with that dude right there in the front with the yellow lightsaber.
Oh, he's
they
such a bitch.
Are no, they do it on purpose, and it's like, okay, I see that you have a blaster. I want to take away your blaster for your own protection.
Yeah.
You said no. Okay, all right, and we're moving on. It's like,
Yeah,
what the fuck?
He was like, I'm taking it away for your own protection. And she's like, no, it's mine. I'm keeping it.
Yeah. and
well, fuck you
he's
then.
like,
Who are you then?
yeah, well, fuck you then. Whatever.
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 It-
Whatever.
it's so terrible. In fact, I think this is a great comment from RJ because I feel the same way. I'm not nitpicking. These are fundamental issues with the show and the writing and directing. It's just not good. And so here's my thing is that you have those issues that are happening at the same time, right? And then simultaneously, you're having issues where they're literally covering checkboxes. Okay. Preferred pronouns. Got it.
That's weird because then they
homosexuality.
didn't they call the little,
check.
and I liked his costume. I thought he looked cool. And I
The
say
little
guy because
Yeah, he was awesome. I love that character.
I dug it. I liked what they did, and they incorporated CG with it because it looked. I was like, wow, that's
so that looked like Star Wars. I was like, yeah, that's
it
a
looked
Star
like
Wars
Star Wars,
character.
and it felt like
That's
Star
cool.
Wars. And they even referred to him as he later on. And
Yeah,
I was
so
like, why are
they
you
obviously
interjecting
worked
this?
in.
I was like, that's stupid.
It was probably a
It
reshoot,
wasn't
or they worked it in.
organic.
It wasn't organic, and that's the problem. Is that everything? Look, I have no fucking with inclusion. I have no fucking problem with female characters, with homosexuality, however you want to portray it. But the fact is that when it comes to the Acolyte in particular, it feels so forced. It feels so unorganic that it's obvious that they're filling in checkboxes. Got it. Okay.
That's dumb. You're dumb.
It's dumb. And it's like let it portray organically. You know what I mean? It's like it's like when you met the witches, right? They made a point to be like, we're in a relationship. I carried the, like their dialogue was so heavy about their relationship with each other. It's kind of like, it should have just played out to where you're like, where it revealed itself, they are in a relationship. That makes sense. As opposed to, we're going to just make sure that you know openly right away. You know what I mean? Like
spoiling it or not spoiling it, spelling
I'm not done yet. Hold on.
Yeah.
It's like, they're so eager to push that agenda upon you that it's hurting the show. And I'm not saying that homosexuality or inclusion is what's hurting the show. It's how they're inserting it into the show. They're forcing it in. It does not feel organic, and it's hurting their reputation and this show. This show, other than Soul the Asian guy, I don't give a fuck about any of these characters. If they all die next episode, I'd be like, okay. You even have like 2 or 3 Jedis who are with them. I don't even know their names.
They're ready to die.
They're just
they're there to die.
Yes.
They're there to give levity to whatever. And that stupid thing in the forest where you have the fucking cockroaches on the trees. I was like, Yoda, and I guess canon is no good anymore, because nothing makes sense, and who gives a fuck. But they, she even says it in the fucking show too. She was like, I sensed them or whatever. Like, they're living creatures. If you're a Jedi, you should be able to sense the living fucking creatures, the ones that are attached to the fucking trees right next to you.
Exactly.
And only one of them fucking like started moving. I was like, oh, here we go. They're
because
about to
she
fucking
touched him.
Because she, it's like a little light you touch. But no, it would have been cool if she touched it and woke up one of them, which woke up the whole fucking nest.
Yes.
And then they all had to fucking deal with it. Now, either that's a good setup for the next episode, but if they don't do that in the next episode as a payoff, it's fucking ridiculous. And
why didn't they all
because
wake
the
up?
damn insect passed her and went to attack Soul. And I was like, wait a minute. If I was Soul, I'd be like, get behind me. She was ahead of him, and the thing was beyond her, and he was like
right by her.
It was like, I'm going to the lightsaber because it's big.
Yeah.
It's like stupid.
No, but they said that. They were like, it's attracted to the light. It's like, what?
So
why would
stupid.
you say that? Why is that necessary? And RJ, I get what you're saying, where you're like, oh, I don't even care about the social stuff. That's fine. My point is this, is that I welcome the stuff they're trying to put into it, but the way they're doing it is just so in your face.
What would have been
so
funny?
obvious.
What would have been funny is if that other
it's not
guy,
organic.
if the one with the yellow lightsaber, like when they said they're attracted to the light, and more of them woke up, he turned on his lightsaber and they fucking chased him. That would have been funny as shit.
Yeah.
Or
Just
just
oh
turn
my
your-
god, keep
Or
running.
just turn your lightsaber on and drop it, and then
Just go throw it away. And they'll be like, oh, let's go over there. But to me, once the one flew at him, they all should have been like,
They should have
they
like
all-
woke
run,
up.
dun, 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 and then they all came
Yeah.
flying at them, and they're fighting him off. And even
Mhm.
when the Jedi gets taken away, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit, he's dead.
They've got OSHA.
No, but like one of the unnamed Jedis, like
Yeah.
one of those beetles could have flew by and grabbed one of them, like, you know what I mean? You're just like, oh shit. But no, instead, what did they do? He killed one, and he was like,
And that was
"Okay,
it.
we better get out of here." And they left. I was like,
Yeah,
wait.
yeah.
I'm like, okay, so the rest of those little fuckers aren't going to wake up after all that
Well,
noise?
it's what even they was us. Yes, they didn't wake up, but you notice none of them even slightly even moved. Even that would have been something.
Yeah.
If even
Well,
one or two of them we saw
because they
started
were-
to move as well, because then
They
that
were
goes
all
to your point.
practical props. They were stuck in
yeah.
the fucking trees. Like, we
But
can't
to
make that
Ryan's
move.
point, though, they could have had that as a lead in to the next episode if they're trying to get out of there. We would
Yeah.
have already known the other ones are starting to wake up or realizing what's going on, and then they would have had to have fought those out on their way out.
Well, like I'm
right?
saying, when they fight Darth Smiley in the next episode, if they even cover that, then yeah, they should have to run. Yeah, the big old smile. Hey guys,
It looks like the Purge.
that's a bad design. But you can tell. Okay, it's either Discount Ezra
Why
Miller
does he got
because
the
of the
big mouth?
because of the shoulders. Yeah, it just looks weird. You know, or it's the green lady, and that's who it is. And that's
I told you earlier, Ryan, my fear is that when they reveal who the Acolyte is, it's not going to be Discount Ezra Miller. It's going to be Daphne Keene, the girl who played X-23.
X-23. Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, oh my god, this is where you put her in. I mean, like, this is where you insert her, this actress as this character. And here's my thing: is that May is like, oh, you know what? Basically, she's like, you know what? I don't have to follow what my master has to say. I'm gonna go with the Jedi. It's kind of like, wait, hold on a minute, hold on. You're talking about
All is forgiven.
you're talking about going with the Jedi. And Discount Ezra Miller was like, well, you can't because you fucking murdered 2 Jedis, right? And he's like, oh, once I tell them what happened, they'll believe me, right? Which is like, okay, that's idealistic. I don't know about that. But not only that, but it's like, wait a minute. So the Acolyte, this fucking guy right here, has trained you for how long?
Yeah.
You've had dialogue with this guy.
Yeah.
He's shown you how to use your abilities. He's taught you how to use a lightsaber. He is your master. And you're just going to drop him like he's a fucking, just a boyfriend
Yeah.
who's being a dick? That makes
It's like
sense
fucking
to
Cobra
me.
Kai. You know, it's like I'm going with Wolfgang Fang or whatever the fuck.
Exactly. It's like, do you think Darth Maul would have been like, you know what? I don't really want to have to chase these guys anymore. I'm gonna go do my own thing. It was just like, what the fuck? When does that ever happen in Star Wars? It doesn't.
It doesn't.
And so I was like, what? And so
Well,
look,
I mean, it's the thing with like Darth Vader said to Luke, and I know it's not canon anymore because it doesn't matter. But he said, you know, you don't understand the power of the dark side. I must obey my master. So fuck you, Disney.
what was this? You want to leave? Fine, I'll kill you.
Yeah, that was in the that previous episode. It was a dumb episode.
So let me ask. This.
Oh yeah, that was in the previous episode. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
like,
it was,
huh?
and I didn't get to talk about it last week because I hadn't watched it yet. But after but watching 3 and 4 because we watched 3 and
Oh, God, that
well,
was
'cause we were
episode
gonna do
3.
show, but then we didn't do show.
Episode 3
but
was a train wreck.
Episode 3 was just boring and it made no sense. And there were so many issues that I had with episode 3. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. Even in its own story, aside from every canon, anything like that, just in its own story itself, I was like, who is writing this? This is written by a child.
Leslie Headland.
She's the showrunner. I don't think she wrote the shit.
No, she wrote it too.
Okay, well then.
So
So I get it. Look. She must know somebody at fucking Disney that she's got the goods on because she did work for Weinstein. and
Harvey
that's how
Weinstein.
That's how she got her
They're
shit.
probably like, hey guys, we need to give her.
But you go
peak
from
position
working
she's got
over
dirt on all of
Paramount,
us.
and you work on some other fucking show, and then you all of a sudden get a fucking job working for Disney at Star Wars, a showrunner
writer.
at Star Wars, and you don't have that much of a resume.
Created by Leslie Headland.
It's she knows somebody, and she's got the goods on him just because of
Something.
him.
I don't know what it
Something,
is, but
because she's not qualified to do this shit.
Well,
now.
so I'm wondering. I mean, there's obviously we've obviously see there's not here, but on out there in the Google universe, there's obviously people who are defending the show. They think it's great. They absolutely love it.
Mhm.
I got a couple things. I don't know what I'm not seeing. What am I missing?
I don't
that
know.
Well,
people-
so the,
wait.
the thing is, you were asking, so I was gonna.
No. I want you to answer the question, but I want to pose a couple questions.
Jack nailed it right here. I'm not watching Acolyte anymore. It's awful.
I want to what are they seeing that obviously I'm not seeing? That's number one. Number two, with these same people who are absolutely, but all of Andor was written so great. Yeah. So,
It was.
but
This is not as good as the Ewok movies.
yeah. So the other question I have is, and obviously I want to hear you guys' thoughts on it, is if this was not Star Wars, if this was just a different IP,
Just a sci-fi movie, or
just
show.
whatever,
Mhm.
I do not think anyone would be defending how would be saying this is a great show. I'm so into this 4 episodes in. I think there would be so much more people trashing it and walking away. But because it's Star Wars,
Mhm.
it's like almost like some people have a need or they feel a need to, I gotta defend it because I like Star Wars. This is Star Wars, so I'm gonna defend it till it's like I'm gonna die on this hill, even though
Exactly.
it isn't the best. But I'm still gonna die on the hill that hey, I love Star Wars. You know what? I enjoy Star Wars too. I enjoy mostly the films versus the Disney Plus stuff. But
yeah.
I'm definitely not defending this, and there's no way I'm gonna die on a hill for this show. So
No, not at all. There's no reason to. And like I said, like I don't want to sound like one of those geeks and gamers guys that fucking hates all the the homosexual stuff and all that stuff. I'm fine with all of that, but it's how they're integrating it along with the bad writing. It's just a recipe for disaster.
See, for me, that is that I'm looking at is I just want a good story.
That's what
anybody wants. Is a good story to be entertained.
Exactly.
But they have too many check boxes to
and that's
make
the
sure
thing.
you fit this in. Okay, I will.
And that's the thing, right? I to all that stuff to me doesn't matter. That to me, that's just background noise. If you can give me a good story and a story that makes sense as you progress episode to episode, and like you both have mentioned, I think Ryan, you mentioned initially that each episode has contradicted itself, and episodes are contradicting themselves within their own episodes.
That's true.
I'm sorry, when you start doing that, I'm checked out. I'm done. What more do I need to invest in? Because what more am I going to think is going to change in the next 4 episodes before the season is even over? Right?
Yeah.
Why invest any more time into it? So, anyways.
So to answer your question,
yeah,
the reason why people feel the need to defend it is you hit on one of them is that it's Star Wars in name only. It's Star Wars, so they're like, you know what? I'm doubling down on this shit. This is something that was near and dear to me. I remember doing things with my mother or my father or whatever, and I've got this thing
connection,
and they passed on. And so I'm holding on to it for dear life and hoping that it's going to get better. So I'm going to ride the wave. And it's the same thing for Marvel people. They're like watching the Marvel movies and they're getting not as good as they used to be. And they're like, I'm going to ride that wave because somebody's got to come out with something good. And so, and you've got these movies that they, or these shows rather, that they throw all this money at. Yeah. And you've got LucasArts, or not LucasArts, but Lucasfilm, that is doing the visual effects, the special effects, all that. So it's packaged and it looks great. It looks amazing. But the problem is that the foundation is the problem. The foundation, the story is where
I wouldn't even say it looks great. It looks
looks great. I think. I mean, yeah, okay. No, aside from you think it looks like it's in a studio. I get that. Mm-hmm. But what I'm saying is the props look great. The little beaver guy looked great.
Amazing.
Even the stupid little fucking, roly-polies or whatever that were on the trees, they look great. Mm-hmm. And they looked menacing when they were opened up and they were going to, fly or whatever. They look great. But there are a lot of things that just kind of get thrown because they push this agenda thing ahead of everything else.
Absolutely.
And I was like, and it takes you away from, you're supposed to watch something and kind of get transported to another realm, another place where like Lord of the Rings, they tried to do that with the Rings of Power or whatever, and it just didn't work. And they're trying it again on some other, I think HBO or Max or whatever. They're trying it again with their own IP to do the Gollum thing or whatever. Let's see how that turns out. But it's like, you know, when Disney gets a hold of this stuff, they're like, all right, we've got this thing and we don't really care about giving you, you know, A1 fucking steak product. You know, we're going to give you what we want to give you. And it doesn't matter anything else. We want, if we can dump so much content out there, then it's available and we're not going to retract any of it. And it's all up to the fans, whether they like it or not. I could give a shit. They're not worried about making good product. They're just worried about getting everything they can out there so that, you know,
it's quantity over quality.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, you know, it's a streaming platform. So they're green lighting shit left and right. And that's, you know, what Iger was talking about, like, you know, quality over quantity. We're going to reel it in or whatever. So hopefully they do. Hopefully they don't release anything unless it's been vetted.
It
you know, unless
it's
been
it absolutely does.
But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen.
The problem I'm having too is that, like, just like what Ryan said, okay, we're talking about a story that takes place in a galaxy far, far away. So when I watch Star Wars, for me at least, which I thought it was universal, I guess I'm wrong, but I've always felt like when I watch Star Wars, I want to be taken to a galaxy far, far away. I want to be immersed in the galaxy that is Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
I don't want social agendas to be forced into it for the sake of to be inclusive. I just want to focus on the story and the world that is Star Wars. And to do what they're doing, essentially, they're trying to rewrite Star Wars history because this is the Acolyte. This happened 100 years ago. Not a millennia ago, but 100 years ago. And so for me, it takes away the originality, and it takes away from the scope and the what do you call it? The differentiation that Star Wars brings that another IP would have brought. Mm-hmm. Because now we're trying to introduce everything that's in our world into that world. And I think that's the mistake that they've made. That's the problem, is that I'm not here to watch the issues that are in my world be in Star Wars. I'm here to watch a story that takes place in the Star Wars universe. Just give me that.
Yeah.
And if there's a character that's homosexual, that's fine. But don't overly force it to where it's like, you know, it has to be front and center. The fact that she's like, is he or they with us? Like, that felt forced. When I watched the episode, I was like, that feels forced. Like, why would you even have to? And
that's never been a thing in Star Wars ever, for any episode, for any show, for any cartoon, for anything. And then they're just like, okay, we're going to add this.
I don't get why. And every time it happens, I notice it, and then it takes me out of that world. It reminds me that there are studio heads that have check boxes and clipboards saying, did you do that? Okay, good job. Did you do that? Okay, good job. It doesn't feel organic. It doesn't feel like when they wrote the story, they wrote these characters to be the way they are, and here's why, and it makes sense in the story. Perfect. I love it. No, it feels like, okay, let's talk about the witches. Okay, let's make sure that these two are in a relationship, and you know, like they're, I don't know how to explain it. I'm not doing a very good job explaining it, but it's just
you're doing good. Just
the way that they're forcing it is bothering me. And now it's making me sound like I'm homophobic or I don't like inclusion. No, it's not even the case whatsoever. I'm all about that. Like, I'm open to that. But the way that they're doing it, it's just so forced that I can't even enjoy the show anymore because
they're not trying to entertain you. They're trying to educate you.
Exactly.
So,
and when you look at the marketing for this show, there's the Wookiee Jedi. There's Carrie Ann Moss, right? Let's go even further back when they first announced this show. Okay, there's the Wookiee Jedi. You know what I mean?
Wookiee Jedi.
And then what becomes the Wookiee Jedi? He's fucking dead. He's fucking in a chair with his belly slashed open, and that kills him.
I wonder if they smell bad on the outside.
And then characters like Reva get stabbed through the abdomen and they live. You
Yeah.
know, it was just like, what?
Yeah.
Even the fucking what's his name?
We
The
got stabbed
Inquisitor.
by a Camino Saberdot.
Yeah, it was just like, what? What is happening here? Like, what is happening to Star Wars that they're so focused?
It's inconsistency with their writings. Like the logic in their galaxy or the logic in their stories, they don't make sense from project to project. And that
They
there's
don't.
no cohesion there. There's no
cohesion.
They're all working in silos is the problem.
Yeah.
The problem with Disney Star Wars is that they're turning into the DCEU, where nothing connects.
Yeah.
Nothing feels organic. Nothing feels like, okay, I'm watching this and now it makes sense that I'm seeing this. It just feels like everyone's doing their own project. Everyone has the freedom to write and say whatever they want to say in their episodes. And there's nobody there for quality control saying, hey, that's not cohesive with what our universe is about. This is what it needs to be about. They need to set a standard that they have not set yet. And why the fuck? These aren't twins. Those two girls aren't. They're not twins.
You're a lying sack of shit.
Why would you cast two girls that aren't twins?
And why would they? But why would they have the same haircut like throughout the years?
They never decided to change their haircut.
Their hair, you know what I mean?
They had the same haircut when they were fucking 12 that they have now.
Like the wind. So,
but what I'm saying is that they're not twins.
They're not.
They're not twins.
And the older ladies, Fema and Osha, they should be different ladies as well.
They're not twins.
They're not.
But they're twins when they get older. I've never seen a set of twins that are born that don't look like each other. But then as they get older, they look more and more like each other. That doesn't exist. That doesn't happen. Usually it's the opposite.
But it's in a galaxy far, far away.
I was thinking with the logic of DC, they should hire Samuel L. Jackson to be in this show.
I'm surprised they haven't hired
his Jedi would age backwards like Benjamin Buttons.
Dude, I'm surprised they haven't hired Jennifer Hudson yet to get her in here.
Oh my God, get the fuck out of here. You know what? They probably ask her, like, hey, how would you set up this galaxy? We don't want to give you any credit, but how would you set this up if you wanted to fuck it up like you fucked up DC?
Here's my thing. Is that if I'm running this show, just real quick, if I'm running this show and you introduce me to these two girls, okay, this is going to be Osha and May as children, I would have said, hey, they're not twins. Oh, it's fine. Don't worry. But no, they're not twins.
Yeah,
they're
I mean,
twins.
that
doesn't make any sense.
What you saying? They all look alike?
Yeah, it's like they're not twins. The characters are twins. Why aren't they twins? Why haven't you casted twins? Did all the actors or did all the kid actors you brought in that were twins, were they that bad that you had to hire two separate kids to pretend to be twins? I don't get it.
Yeah.
That's just right there. I was like, wow, are you
aside from the hair, they don't look a bit alike. Aside from like, hey, here, put this wig on. Okay, you put this wig on. Okay, now you guys are identical. I can't tell you apart.
And again, what Ryan hinted at is Disney Star Wars telling me that, well, of course they look alike. They're black. It's kind of like, no, they're two separate individuals.
Completely different facial structure.
And that makes no sense. That makes no sense when you're overly pushing homosexuality and feminism and everything that you want to be inclusive on, which is fine by me. But you're pushing that so hard, yet you don't cast two girls that are twins. That makes no sense to me at all.
There are so many actors out there that are, I mean, fucking Olsen twins. Come on now, you got twins that like the twins that were in the fucking Ghostbusters 2. You know, you didn't need them, and there was only one Oscar, but they kept switching them out. You know,
yeah,
because nobody knew. Same thing with the fucking with the other kids in fucking Big Daddy. They were fucking twins. They went on to Disney.
And why is he sitting on a fucking crate in this scene? He was just like playing with a toy gun, whatever the
one
fuck
thing
that
I
is.
do like, I like his speeder bike. That thing looks fucking dope.
That's cool. And what's with the dome on his head? Like,
what? No. It's his hair is pulled back slick. I thought they shaved his head, but they didn't.
I thought he was wearing like a yarmulke.
Hair.
Like it was like a little hat.
He's a Jewish Wookiee. He's a
Jewish Wookiee.
He's a Jookie.
He's a Jookie. And why does he look like this? Why does he look like Chewbacca? I mean, most of the Wookiees all look alike, but yet this one, for some reason, no.
Well, even some of them, the Wookiees from Clone Wars or episode
Yeah.
2 looked drastically better than what we got here.
The fucking Wookiee in Boba Fett looked
Yeah.
fucking dope.
Dope.
Yeah.
He was
Dope.
Well,
awesome.
and that's why it's and you mentioned this, Andre, earlier. I think at some point, hopefully someone wakes up and says, okay, we need like an overseer or an architect for
That's
the
Kathleen
Disney Plus
Kennedy.
Star Wars space. And
Isn't
while
that-
they can each
that's
while they can
Dave
each have,
Filoni and Kathleen
well,
Kennedy.
well, they're
What's
obviously not doing.
happening?
I'm talking about someone that's
Yeah, I
that's
agree.
more involved.
No, yeah, I agree. I agree.
Because obviously what we've seen thus far, I mean, yes, those two people are there, but we can clearly see from what's been released that the involvement isn't there because they've allowed to, I think, everyone's point here, they've just allowed, hey, go here. You
Run
want to do that
amok.
show? Go ahead. Go do what you want. Just send me the invoice and yeah, well, just let me know. And every time we come around this mountain with another Star Wars show, it seems like it's like a rinse and repeat. Bad story or bad character development, or this doesn't make sense. And at some point, Sony say, hey, listen, we've done this rinse and repeat 4 or 5 times. We're not gaining any new fans. Where it seems like we just keep gaining more hate and keeping the same hardcore fans. How do we switch this up? So
I think their whole plan is to weed out the Star Wars fans and replace them with the people that you were talking about earlier that just like it. You know,
so you're talking about like they're trying to weed out like the hardcores and
they're
just
trying to weed
bring
out
like the general
Andre.
fans.
They're trying to weed out me. They're trying to weed out anybody who really liked, Star Wars growing up and had a great understanding of what that world was or meant or anything like that. They're like, no, we bought the property. We're going to do whatever we want to with it, and we can run it into the ground if we want. But the thing is that they thrive on the hate views. They thrive on these, because it keeps engagement. It keeps people watching this shit. It's a train wreck. It's a horrible show, but people are going to watch it because they're like, oh, you said it's horrible? I'm going to watch that, just see how bad it is.
It's a horrible show, but they're doing it to themselves. They're stumbling over their own feet. And that's the biggest problem I have with this show.
I don't think that they're trying to make money. I don't know what they're trying to do. I think that they make enough from their Disney princesses that they could give a fuck about what happens with Star Wars. They're in the hole with Star Wars.
Okay, well, here we go. Did you see that Daphne Keane confirmed that the idea is that her character has a crush on Osha, and that's part of the story? Okay,
is that the one with the blonde hair?
That's the one who played X-23.
Okay.
So that's gonna be her angle, and that's fine. Like, I don't care.
Well, then
Like,
she's not the Acolyte.
She's not the Acolyte, thank God. I saw that today. I thought it was a troll post, but apparently the idea is behind her character, that she has a crush on Osha and she's trying to suppress her emotions as a Jedi.
Oh, and what the fuck was that all about? Like she was talking about, I left the Jedi. It was my decision. And then fucking Soul comes up to her and is like, hey, I need to take you on a mission. And she's like, would you like me to join the Jedi? It's like, no, bitch. I said, I need to join you on a mission, but I don't want you to be a Jedi again.
It's like don't get it twisted. We don't want you back.
Yeah, we don't want you. We don't want you for that. But the thing was, it was like, bitch, you left the Jedi account, the Jedi Order, and now you have buyer's remorse. You want to go back? I was like, what? I was like, dude, and that's what I mean. It's just like it's their motivations are not clear, defined. They seem. It seems so just in the wind, as to what they want. There's no clear, like who wants what? What does May want? We have no fucking idea now. She's like, my sister survived my attack. That changes everything. Like the fuck? Like, no, it changes nothing. My allegiance is to my sister. When did you ever have allegiance to your sister? You tried to kill the girl.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time you had allegiance to your sister? And then you're mad at the Jedi, but you're the one that started the fire in her room right there? You locked her in her room?
But remember, we haven't seen the other side of the story yet.
Oh, God.
Why were all the witches just laying down? They weren't like burnt. They weren't massacred. They were just laying there.
I think they were like the Wizard of Oz, like, wow. They just all fell over.
Oh, it's like in the Never-Ending Story when Atreyu falls at the end. No, Atreyu! He falls over, and then it's like, oh, did he die? Wait, what happened? It's just kind of like, whoa, what's going on? And here's my problem too: is that like they're taking so long to get to the point of the story. They're taking so long to figure out what happened at that witch hideout, which isn't even a hideout because it's on the top of a fucking
It's on the
mountain.
top of a mountain. well lit. And it's like, we have hidden ourselves from the world.
Well,
I'm like, what?
With a plane beacon, so a plane doesn't fly into it.
Yeah, it was like, we're
The
obviously
Jedi
letting you
found
know
it
that we're
pretty
here.
easily.
Yeah, they're like, there they
"We
are.
hear you have some children. We don't have any children except for these two here that we told you we didn't have.
But
Yeah,
the bigger
that we're-
question,
Come
but the bigger
forth,
question is
children.
how did you even find us?
Well, and they're like, the Wookiee, the Wookiee Jedi is like, you come forward. It was like, what are you doing? All the witches that were there, you think that when May and Osha came up, they'd be like, get the fuck back. You know what I mean? Like, hey, what are you doing? They're just like mindless people, like, huh?
Yeah.
Or
It was-
or stay in your room. Just stay in your room.
yeah.
It would have been like,
true.
it would have been like, hide them and make sure they never find
They
them.
did a better fucking job in Rogue One when they tried to hide what's her face. When the Imperials came down and
Oh, at the very beginning. Yeah.
at the very beginning, they were like, get the fuck in that damn sewage place or whatever and fucking stay there until
Yeah.
Saul Guerrero comes and gets you.
RJ writes, I don't think they're purposely trying to weed out the older Star Wars fans.
think they are.
I disagree. I just think they're incompetent and don't know how to make good Star Wars. They don't know who their audience is anymore.
They have to have a clear idea of who their audience is. They have to.
Yeah.
That has to be in a meeting. that they've had
every
multiple
product
meetings.
has a target
Yes,
market.
they have a
They
target
know what the
audience.
target market
Yeah.
is.
Exactly. I agree.
Here's my problem.
I do agree with the second statement, but I also agree that or disagree that they know who they want to, because the money is with the kids. It's not with the adults. The adults are going to spend the money, but in any situation when you're trying to grow a brand or build a brand, you want to go for the children.
Yep. Well, because I mean, you got to think about toys and merchandise,
Yes,
and all that. That's ultimately what's going to drive a lot of this profit.
Because
through.
the parents will buy what their kids want.
Yeah.
So that's why their target audience is children, and it's always children. It's like,
Here's
Star
here's
Wars is
one
for
more-
children.
here's one more thing that I want to talk about, because I was talking about how I felt like the way that they've included their version of inclusion and everything has been very forced and very non-organic, and it just seems like it's really placed in there, right? I think the problem is that when they set out to make this universe that has so little cohesion at this point, the problem is that they went about it knowing that they were going to have topics that fans would not be fans of. They were going to challenge their fans to accept certain things that they wanted in the Star Wars universe. The problem I have with that is what you've done is you've created a division within your Star Wars fandom. Now you have fans who will go out of their way to say, I don't want any of this inclusion in my Star Wars, right? And then they're called bigots and all that other stuff. So I think that, like, you knew what you're getting into when you took this route. And you knew that there would be division in this route. I just think, like Ryan said, they don't care because they know, hey, they're going to spend the money anyway, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
So, like I said, I'm all about inclusion. I'm all about having all the things that they have in there. I just want it to feel more organic. I feel like it's just too forced. And then it takes away from, that feeling of that I'm watching something that's in a galaxy.
When you're
far
trying to
away.
watch something that's engaging, you want to stay engaged in that, and you don't want anything to sort of make you kind of pull yourself out and wait a minute, what?
Here's Phil. He's back.
No, there he is.
Were you able to help your brother?
Yeah, got him to AutoZone. He got his brakes. Everything's all gravy. What were we talking about? Did I miss anything? Are we still talking about the Acolyte?
We're still talking about that. Yeah.
So, paraphrase your review on the Acolyte, or your thoughts on the newest episode.
Look, I thought the episode. Look, no Star Wars show is perfect. That's abundantly fucking clear. Okay, let's preface that right now. Okay, but I think honestly, like, this episode, if it suffers from anything, it was just too short. It was, a 25-30 minute episode. It's like, yeah, okay, it's brisk. There were certain things I would have liked to see. Like, honestly, I thought that there was a missed opportunity there with, like, the bugs coming out, like the one bug that came off the tree and went after May or Osha, and then, Master Soul cuts it down. I was like, oh, okay. I would have liked it more if there was a whole swarm and, there would have been the Jedi action to take them all out. I was like, okay, but, I get it. They probably if they shot, I doubt it, but based on the way it was shot, it looks like there was only just the one.
And we agree with you too. Like we said the same thing that they should have been more
cool.
of them. Like, oh,
would have been cool. Would have been cool, yeah. But I thought the ending of it was actually quite a nice cliffhanger. It really kind of, solidifies this dark user is a force to be reckoned with, no pun intended, because he literally just uses a force push to fucking send these Jedi on their ass. I was like, that's pretty cool. I do feel like there's a bit of like questionability there with May in terms of like, oh, now she's coming to the terms of like, I don't need to do this. I'm just going to surrender myself to the Jedi. And then the master comes in and like fucking just kills Cal Necker right then and there. I feel like that's going to get paid off in some way where he's going to be like, so you thought you could do this differently? No. I don't know how that's going to play out, but I'm just kind of curious to see who that Sith master is. I have a theory, and no, I don't think it's Quimir like a lot of everyone else on the internet is seeming to believe that seems to be the case. I don't think it's the potions guy at all. That theory just seems way too easy. The act
too easy.
David Harwood, who played Martian Manhunter on Supergirl, he's in the cast list. He hasn't been revealed yet. I wonder if he's the one behind the mask. For me, I feel like the master could be Darth Plagueis. I feel like there's a chance it could be that character given the way the timeline shoots out. And this could very well be the Disney era canonized version of how Darth Plagueis came to be before he took on Palpatine as his apprentice. But, if it's someone else, I'll be fine with that too. I'm not.
But see, I think that's a cool idea.
Right?
I would actually welcome that. Like, okay, cool. Here we go.
Yeah. And it could also be, a Revanite who's, a really long descendant of, the Order of Revan from the Knights of the Old Republic, because Leslie Headland is a fan of that universe and that game and that timeline, which is like, even more far removed from the High Republic. It's like 3,000 years before Phantom Menace. So I don't know. Honestly, I feel like, if this episode really suffered from anything, it's just too short. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, as a Star Wars fan, I'm like, I want more. I really just kind of want more. I'm intrigued by, the things that are set up in the show. Like I'm curious to see who the master is. I want to see, and honestly, I'm not even mad that like May is conflicted with her feelings on this, because that's just kind of a thing that's been prevalent in Star Wars, depending on your character. I mean, you've got Ben Solo, you've got Darth Vader. It's just something that is intrinsic to people of the dark side of the Force who have those conflicted feelings. So yeah, I'm here for it. I'm pretty invested in it. It's not my favorite thing for sure, but I'm just along for the ride, and I'm not mad about anything. And honestly, there are people complaining about the age for Kidamundi, and I'm like, that doesn't mean shit, because he's not really a human. So the age doesn't really matter to me, because he's of a different species and they probably age differently. That's the way I kind of chalk that up. And even seeing Plo Koon, like a young Plo Koon, I was like, oh, that's cool.
I didn't even see him. I was like, right, he wasn't there.
He's in the background. Yeah.
Yeah, he was there.
He was there.
Yeah, he was there, and I didn't have a problem. Like I said, I thought that the makeup job on Kiadi was awesome. To get, and he sounded like him. I don't think there was the same actor from episode 1. I thought it was a good job. So I bought it. I bought that was Kiadi. So
yeah, it looked just like a younger version of him. It's not out of the realm of possibility to see that he was there. I mean, Yoda's fucking 700 years old.
Right.
It's not out of the realm of possibility that some of these other guys in the council would be there too.
On that character, I think it's weird that they would take liberties to do that, but at the same time, it's like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the grand scheme.
It doesn't affect the grander thing, but I was like, I'm in agreement with Phil, but also I can understand how people are like that. Like, oh man, how can you destroy canon or whatever? But it's just like, what? Why even include Kiadi? Like they've got so, like, you look at all these different Jedi or whatever, and it's like, why is he even there? He didn't serve unless he does something later on, in the series where he does something of renown or something significant. Then he's just there for eye candy. Okay,
it's an interesting choice. Like, let's go with him. It was like, huh?
Like I don't know. I mean, he was kind of just this more of a background character than he was a mainstay character. So I just feel like just having him in the background doesn't really hurt much anything. He's just, it's just another, for a show that they claimed was, kind of removed from the Skywalker saga, but the fact that the timeline has it so close being loose, right? You kind of have to, I wouldn't say obligated, but it's just kind of fun to see certain elements from the, the original saga still be tied to it. I mean, if it was too far removed and you had absolutely nothing, fans were probably going to bitch about it in that form too, that there's no connection to what is happening. Is this in an alternate universe, et cetera, et cetera? Like, fans were going to bitch one way or the other. And I'm not at all saying you guys are, but it's just, it's just those things I think about,
I do like how the Jedi Temple looks.
Oh yeah, on Coruscant, it's badass.
I like that. They sort of reverted. It's not as grand as it was in episode 1. So I'm like, I do like things like that.
I love how they show the Jedi Temple on Coruscant the same way it looked in episode 1 of the outside shots.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, yes, I love that we're going back to these. We're going back to Coruscant. For the longest time, we never seem to want to go there.
I like the outfits that they wear, in that they're different from the from the and not all of them. I think they should all have it because it's like 100 years prior, so they shouldn't all be in that
I think they
the
should.
Alec Guinness was in a desert, so I understood why he was wearing the robes and all that kind of stuff. And then George was like, "Fuck it, everybody has robes," and I was like, and that's what he did for episode 1. Everybody has robes. I don't give a fuck. And because I like what they did with the Clone Wars, in that there's some like Obi-Wan and Anakin were wearing parts of armor, with robes or whatever.
Yeah,
I was like, okay,
cool.
at least that's cool. But I like these guys here that are in sort of those banana Jedi outfits or whatever, kind of a little bit yellow, and it kind of looks like a kind of a cape. It's just a little bit different look, and I'm like, I like that for this period. Like, give me sort of like, if this is gonna be a Star Wars period piece, give me that. Give me a period piece where they don't look exactly like they did in episode 1, because it's 100 years difference, and you're gonna change the way you fucking dress.
I think even just based on the High Republic stuff that they've released in novel form, and just looking at the outfits they have there, it's close, if not outright, like spot on. Like, it looks like it's from the High Republic era.
The one I don't like is the green head lady. She looks like she's just wearing like a potato sack underneath her robe, and I'm like,
Vernestra Rowe.
Yeah, there.
The one down there with
that does not look good.
So it's funny because apparently she's the only character outside of pretty much everyone else is a brand new character created for the show specifically, but she is specifically from the High Republic novels, from what I understand. But I've never read any of the books, so I'm not that deep into the High Republic stuff as some others might be. But yeah, from what I understand, her character is absolutely from the novels that have been released so far. I don't know where exactly, but yeah, she's been around, I guess.
What kills me though is that the Wookiee Jedi,
Cal
Carrie Ann Moss, they were very much marketed in this show, and they're both dead. We talked about the show earlier. They're both dead, and it's kind of like, well, wait a minute. Like, I wanted to see more Carrie Ann Moss, and now we're seeing her in flashbacks. But even when we saw her in the flashback, it wasn't like, oh, there she is. It was kind of like, oh, cool, there she is. And and I don't know. It just seems kind of like, oh, you marketed this to be like, oh, look at all these cool characters, but then two of the ones I want to see the most, they're dead, and it's like, fuck, really?
I think, while I understand where you're coming from,
right,
I think it's a little early to come to that. Again, I understand where you're coming from, but there's still 4 more episodes. We haven't even seen May's perspective from what happened on Brendok, and we very well could see them in action the way people want to. It's my guess. I don't know if it's actually going to happen, but I would hope that gets addressed, because obviously with the new master coming in at the end of this episode, there has to be some kind of explanation of not only how did May survive Brendok and the fire and whatnot, but how did Torben get his eye cut? What are these Jedi hiding on Brendok from so long ago? And how is this master tied to all of that? Vernestra says that this new dark user has to be some kind of former Jedi. That could be the case, or it could be something else entirely. The mystery now is, like, how does that dude factor into all of this?
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do think it's just a little early to say that we haven't seen enough of these characters yet because we're still 4 episodes left of the series. But I understand where you're coming from.
It's just I don't know. Like we were saying earlier, I feel like the writing has not been that great. I feel like I will say this on a positive note. This episode in particular, I loved that they shot a lot of this on location, and so
Yes.
it gave it a grander, bigger
the Lord
scale.
of the Rings shots.
Yeah, like, but it felt bigger. You know what I mean? It felt like it had a grander scale, and so I was like, "Oh, I love this. This is great." But then, as soon as they got to the Wookiee Jedi's home, it was like, "Okay, let's go back to the set where it's safe." And then we go
There's
there.
bagels.
We go there, and May shows up, and then she finds him, and he's fucking dead in a chair.
Yep.
I would have already cauterized.
Did he not even get up?
He's asleep. He's asleep.
And I was just like, wait, he's dead? He's just sitting down dead? I like, why did he die off screen? Like, that was the deal. I was like, they killed him off screen? Like, why would they have done that? And then the Jedi show up, and then just a second ago, she was like, oh, I'm going to join the Jedi. I'm going to tell them everything. The Jedi show up, and she's like, oh, shit, I'm just going to hide in here now. When she could have come out and said, I didn't kill, obviously she was already fucked as it was, but you would think she would have came right out and been like, hey, I didn't kill him, and I'm here to tell you everything. You know what I mean? Instead, she was hiding in there, so it was kind of like, wait a minute. You just said that you wanted to turn yourself into the Jedi and, tell them the truth. But now they're outside, not even with their lightsabers out, they're just outside, and you don't even want to come out. Like, huh? And then, obviously, the Acolyte comes floating down.
Yeah. She had a lot of time before the Acolyte showed up, so it wasn't because she was afraid of him.
Yeah. He came down. The force push I thought was badass.
That was the best part of the show.
Yeah, I was like, oh damn. I was like, that's sick.
Yeah.
And then it was like roll credits. Like, oh. And
Cliffhanger.
so
They cliffhangered everybody.
But the thing is that like I didn't see it as much of a cliffhanger, but I saw it more as like kind of what you were saying, Phil, where when it ended, I was like, oh, why'd they end it there? That didn't feel right.
It's quick. It's one of the quicker episodes, and I think that's kind of where it loses a bit of its steam is the fact that he's brisked through this. Oh, we need to go find Kelnek. Oh, we need to go find May. Oh, May needs to figure out, like, am I going to do this? Am I not going to do this? And, there are moments there of like sincerity and, emotional beats, like earlier on between Daphne Keene's character and Osha, like, hey, when all this is said and done, I'll look you up on Coruscant. We can trade stories about Master Soul. I was like, okay, that's intrinsic to Star Wars, because there are these deep character moments that kind of shine through the the glamour and the spectacle and things like that. And I was a fan of that. I can understand why people aren't necessarily like latching on or being what's the word here? They're not identifying, or they're not connecting with any of these characters. And I feel like that's kind of a difficult thing to do. And sometimes when you have, brand new characters in, say, if you equate characters to like, toys in a toy chest, when you have so many toys in a toy chest that you can pull from and play with, in your mind or whatever, you're so accustomed to, like, a Luke Skywalker or a Ben Solo or, an Obi-Wan. When it comes to new characters, it usually takes, something that really something in the thing that you're watching to really solidify. You're like, okay, I really dig this character. And I feel like right now, for a lot of people, that's arguably probably Master Soul, played by Lee Young Jae. I think he's a solid mainstay in.
He doesn't know English, so he doesn't know like.
He learned English specifically to play this role.
Yeah, right. I know. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't know. He's like, that's amazing, because you know what? He is, out of all the other actors, he is the one that is portraying, or he's the one that's the most believable.
Yes.
Out of the whole cast, I'm like, I believe that you actually give a shit.
I feel like he's trying hard.
I do. I think everybody else is just like, oh, we're here for the bagels.
I quite agree with that, but
I do feel like the actor that's playing Soul I feel like he's doing an outstanding job, and he's acting the best of everybody.
Yes, I agree.
I feel like Amanda Steinberg,
the little girl,
the one playing double duty on the twins. I feel like there's great moments with both the characters that she plays, but then there are also moments, more so with May than there are with Osha, where there's just some kind of confusing writing going on. But again, like that just kind of leads into, we haven't seen what this whole season is about yet to come to a really hard conclusion about it all. So
I almost kind of felt like OSHA has like taken a back seat, especially in this last episode. Like she had, obviously she had lines, but I felt like, the main part of the story, she was just kind of there for the ride.
Yeah,
and at the end,
she's not a very interesting character.
Yeah, she's very shallow.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of depth. Now, obviously, we don't know why she left the Jedi Order, but like we were saying earlier, he's like, OSHA, and she's like, yeah, I want you to come with me on this mission. You want me to come back to the Jedi Order? No, I just
not
want
officially.
You to yeah, but it was just kind of like,
no, please don't get that confused.
Yeah, I didn't mean to give you that impression. I just want you to come with us. She goes, oh, you want me to lure her out, right? Oh, yeah, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
And that again, I was like, oh, Jesus. But her character, I actually liked her character earlier in the series and in the first couple of episodes. I was more interested in her character, but lately I feel like that's kind of fallen off a little bit. And I guess, it is hard to kind of balance this, both those characters, her and May, and also everybody else that you're trying to introduce as well. But I just think that still the writing needs more work.
I feel like if there's a character I'm not really too high on, it's probably Yord, because he's very much like the cutout of what a Jedi typically is, and I don't necessarily find all that completely interesting.
No,
because
yeah,
I don't agree with. I don't think he's another like Obi-Wan or Anakin or any of those. I don't.
Oh no, I'm not even equating him to any of
Jedi.
those. I just mean he's just playing up the typical Jedi space cop role, like and that's just it.
I think they're just that. It seems to be that they bring him along, or he's only written there so that they can just dog on him, so they can just like like the whole blaster scene of this episode. Like, I want to take your blaster away, and she's like, fuck you, and he's like, okay, but it's I'm gonna take it away for your safety, and she's walking away. Okay. It just seems like that's just why even have the fucking character?
For a guy who apparently
why
grew
even
up with
have
this
that
character
scene?
too,
I was like, okay, she
for
told you to
a
fuck
character
off.
who apparently grew up with OSHA, you'd figure there'd just be some more. I don't know. There would be just a little bit more there to have between the two of them, like as far as
some
just
camaraderie
or a bit of a war.
Yeah, and it just
they
feels like
seem to like disrespect him. Like, fuck you, Yord, you dumbass. Get a haircut. That's the way it feels like in every episode. Like even that one girl with the blonde hair, she was like, put some clothes on, you dumb fuck.
Like you're turning your lightsaber in your robes, dude.
I mean, it's like he's not.
Put a fucking shirt on.
Put a shirt on, you fucking mook.
You're not impressing anybody.
Mooch. You want a mooch.
And he's just overly vanilla, and I agree that he is supposed to be like the cookie cutter stereotypical Jedi, but yeah, I feel like nobody respects him, and he's just kind of there and doesn't offer a whole lot, and to what we talked about earlier, it's like when the one beetle started flying around, they all should have started waking up, they all should have attacked, and that should have been a scene where all the Jedi whip out their lightsabers and start fighting the beetles, and maybe one of the no names that were there gets killed, like oh
or
god,
Yord.
like oh yeah.
No, I think like he should have had his lightsaber, and they're attracted to the light, and he holds it up, and if they fucking chase him, and he runs up, that would have been funny because they paint him as a dumbass. So just he's the Jar Jar Binks of the fucking crew.
I wouldn't say he's Jar Jar Binks. That's going a little far. Or like
no, I think vanilla is probably the best. He's a vanilla Jedi.
He's
more
very
or less.
vanilla.
Like,
but at the same time, OSHA in general, she's also becoming very vanilla. Where you're just kind of like, okay, when are we gonna start getting? When is your character gonna get really interesting?
Not needed.
Because now it's
she's
like
not needed.
She's not needed at the moment, and that's
even
why
on this
like,
fucking mission, she wasn't needed. She provided nothing during the mission. Nothing.
She talked to May, didn't she? Didn't she
no.
say May?
No, that was the other episode. When she shot behind her and was like, let her get away.
When they were like, come out now.
And then they were like, we still trust you, even though you let her go. Come on.
And that's the thing, too, is that like May has literally, as far as they know, she has murdered 2 Jedi. We know that they know that the one guy was poisoned but they don't know the context in which that he drank the poison himself and willingly killed himself. So as far as they know, she's a murderer. She's murdered 2 Jedi, and yet they're like, hey, we can save May. We can bring her back. You know, it's kind of like, wait a minute.
Moss. No. That's okay. We forgive.
Yeah. But it's like, that's a murderer. We need to apprehend her above anything else. You know, there's not so much we need to find her and kill her. No, we need to apprehend her. That is our job. Put her in the
cell with those other people from that other episode. You know,
we're gonna hack out of this. And everybody just goes. You know, it was like, oh, that was that easy. Jesus, your firewall is terrible. But so we'll see how episode 5 shakes out. I think that it should pick up right where we left off. I would hope.
I'd have to imagine. Yeah.
And we need to figure out
back on Coruscant. What?
With Yoda? Oh no!
We've lost communication. We have.
The Wookiee Jedi is dead.
Send the Green Lady.
Well, they only have 4 episodes.
He got sliced in the belly.
To kind of turn this around for some people. So,
but my thing is that, like, did he even get up? Did he even get up? Was he seated there, like, ah?
Yeah, well, we know he was. Well, he probably was. He was eating his dinner. He just cooked.
He's eating his dinner,
and then his fur was still singed. It was still burning. I was like, "Well, so this just happened." He was like,
"Well, yeah, fucking Acolyte Mary Poppins down." You know, it was like, "Oh," right outside.
Yeah, that's that dark user got a pretty good handle on just kind of creeping up behind people and just doing his thing, doing their thing. You know, like. And it's even funnier because, like,
Cylon, you're right.
Thanks, Cylon.
He comes in, nails it.
Misa back.
So, with that being said, check out the Acolyte episode 4. We talked about it long enough.
Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Yeah, let us know what you think in the comment section below. But let's move on to our next topic, which is, otherwise we're never going to get off.
We're never going to end. Yeah.
Let's talk about Jesus,
the boys season dollar.
Who the fuck wrote that?
I did. Season money. It's money. No,
it's money.
The Boys season 4. So we had a 3-part episode premiere.
Yeah.
Or a 3-episode premiere, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was really cool. There wasn't much that I didn't like about it. They're really going for that kind of like. I mean, I'll be honest. I feel like they're really going for the idea of, like, you know, Homelander and his what are they called?
Homies?
No, not homies. It's
I don't
Sean.
know.
What are they called? His followers? Home teams? Home teamers.
Yes.
Home teamers.
Like, yeah.
They're really going for the whole, like,
Starlighters,
like the whole, like, if you know, the Trumpers and all that kind of stuff. They're going for like this radical look. And overall, though, I like what they've done. I actually liked what they did with I think her name is Julia Dumont's character, the head popper.
Yeah.
I like what they did with her character in that, you know, when
the vice president to be Julia
Newman. Okay.
Newman. When she found them outside in the van and,
like, he threw that acid at her.
Yeah, she was like, "What the fuck?
You fucking ruined my outfit.
You ruined my pantsuit."
but like, I like her character in that she's smart. She could have popped Huey's head if she wanted to, but she didn't, because, again, she actually has morals. She's like, I don't want to kill you. I actually like you a lot. Like, I think you're a good person. And so she doesn't want to kill. And I mean, then again, you don't want to have a fucking murder scene right outside your rally as well.
Right.
But like,
but Zoe didn't hold back, though. Her daughter.
Her kid? Oh my God.
But that's a kid. You know,
I'm just saying, though.
I don't like her.
She went to fucking town on those guys. Oh my God.
They were like, disgusting. I was like, oh my God.
Snake mouth, just venom, just
that was crazy.
That was fucking insane. Oh my God.
But yeah, when he throws the acid on her, she was like, what the fuck, dude?
So
and then
let me pose a question to you guys.
What?
Do you think that Newman could pop Homelander's head?
That's the biggest question. I actually feel like in this season, or if not the next, we're going to find out. And my answer is no. Because the fact that he's indestructible, I think all it's going to do,
you know,
but all it's going to do is probably cause him like a headache. Like, what are you doing? And she'll be like,
that,
oh,
or
shit.
there'll be like blood in his eye, you know, pop a vessel or something, something minor, but like, okay, she did something. you know.
But I mean, if you watch Gen V, she has the same powers as the main character from Gen V. So essentially, you know, she can actually, she hasn't done it yet, but she can whip out her blood and use them as like tentacles or whips or stab you with them, which is pretty cool. So I don't know if that character is going to show up in this show. I mean, she might. But I was a big fan of, and surprisingly, I didn't think I was going to be, but I was actually a big fan of the character, what is it? Sister Sage.
Yeah.
Sage, yeah.
I actually liked the character because, and going into it, I was like, oh, this character's gonna be so annoying, but I actually thought
She
the
did
character
start off
was
as
good.
annoying. She did start off as annoying, and then when Homelander brought her in, I was like, okay, I like how she's fucking playing chess with these people.
Well, yeah, we're meant to believe that, but I think Homelander's playing chess. I think
he's playing chess too, but he's more playing checkers.
No. I think he's brought her in. He's like, hey, yeah, you kind of make these decisions. You're gonna be kind of you're the CEO now. You're gonna be the face. I think ultimately that's gonna come back to bite her, and it's part of a bigger plan that Homelander has.
Well, now she's got essentially like she's flawed in that while she's the smartest person in the room and even on the planet, she has a thing for dumb idiots.
Yes.
And that idiot could very well expose her for what she is, because we've seen that the Deep is an emotional wreck of a human who cannot keep it together. And when things go south between the two of them, he will absolutely spill the beans.
Oh,
well, and how the Deep is even still alive to this point.
I like that he's still alive. I just don't like the fucking octopus.
Episode 1.
I love the octopus.
Episode 1, where Homelander was like, Deep, suck off A-Train. So
Dude, Andre and I were
gonna do it.
Andre and I were doing the watch party. We were sitting like, no, this isn't gonna happen.
We were like, oh my God,
this is gonna
and then like Ashley's face was like,
But not only that, but like he got in a position. Finally, he was like, Jesus Christ, go sit down. Like he's so fed up with them pacifying him that it literally led him to go get Sister Sage. Once he met her, he was like, yeah, I need somebody who's going to tell me like it is. And she told him, she was like, you're not going to like what I have to say a lot of times. It's fine. I can take it, you know? And then, oh God, what's his name? The kid? That poor kid. Oh my God. Like he's, Homelander's son. He's
Ryan. Yeah.
Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh my God. This kid's going to be so fucked up. But I was telling Sean,
I like when he threw the guy against the wall.
Well, the poor stunt
next time, make sure you throw me. I could take it.
Poor guy.
That was hilarious.
Like,
no. And then Homelander told him he died doing what he loves.
He's
stunt
like,
work.
He's like, throw him. He's like, throw him hard. You know what I mean? The little girl was like, thank you for saving me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, even in the fact that episode as well, Will Ferrell shows up and training the A-Train.
Oh, God.
I mean,
so funny.
I mean, who thought that was going to happen?
Like Will Ferrell of all people.
Yeah,
I was
know.
like,
I was
doing
like,
a
all
great
right,
job,
is this
man.
a commercial?
Great
Did
job.
we turn the show
come
off?
back
I was
come
like,
back
what
to the
fuck?
school with me, A-Train. Finish your training.
that was funny.
That was great.
That was too funny.
And even Black Noir. I mean, I know when we
I like that he keeps
thought,
asking for direction.
well, initially when we saw him,
And then almost every episode, Homelander's like, Noir, shut the fuck up.
yeah. Oh, they all are. They're all getting tired of him
Fuck
talking.
up.
well,
He's
when we
like,
first
"Hey, I
saw
got
him
a
come
question.
on, we were
Shut
like,
the
wait a
fuck
minute,
up."
how did he survive? What do we not know
No,
yet? And then,
that's-
and
he
then
doesn't
when he immediately
talk.
and then when he talked, we were like, oh fuck, it's not him.
There's somebody else. Yeah.
Somebody
And it
else.
would make sense too because he died
The
by
Homelander
the hands of
fucking ripped
Homelander.
his
They
shit
were like,
out.
let's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
recast him. But it's funny because I mean, like in the Invincible comic, in the Boys comic,
He's a
Uh,
Homelander.
he's
clone.
a Homelander's clone.
Yeah.
So I still think that actually could be the case still, and that the reason why you're hearing his voice is to throw you off that scent. Like, oh look, he's a black guy, and he's like, yo, what's going on? You know. But it could just be like, you know, when you.
It'd
actually
be funny
see
if
his
they,
face.
if they did
Yeah,
that.
that he
reveal
was
and it's-
acting
and
the
it's
whole
him.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what it could be.
I think it's gonna be that, to be honest.
I think it's going to be a clone of the original Noir. That's what I think it's going to be. I think they're going to try and play it best with both worlds. It's going to be.
It could be, yeah.
Could be that, because honestly, if you know how the Boys comic ends, then I think I've even said it here. If you know how it ends, basically to sum it up is I think Ryan is going to be the one who takes out Homelander in the end.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Because in the comic, what happens is, as Andre was kind of leaning towards, is you find out that Noir is in fact a clone of Homelander, and he's the one who actually takes out Homelander in the White House in the final book. But I think, given that the way they're trying to set up Ryan's character, and obviously he feels some kind of remorse for what he did to the stunt coordinator, I really feel like they're kind of leaning more towards making Ryan a he's almost like Superman and Spider-Man rolled into one, but under a very dark, twisted umbrella in certain respects, because he's got, you know,
he's going to actually try to be a hero in this fucked up universe.
Right.
Yeah,
and he's also like the first natural born hero in this world, as opposed to everyone else being like genetically modified by the Gen V or whatever.
Yeah,
the V serum, right? The V24, whatever the fuck.
I feel like he's going to end up, you know, obviously I do feel like he'll be the one who ends up at least leading to his death.
Costume.
His costume.
They presented to him.
Good God.
He's got the shorts.
Yeah. I was like, oh my God.
What?
That was so funny.
And then
He's
that's
like, and Homelander was like, hey.
And even
Like,
and even
don't
to
you
Andre's
like it?
point, like that was exactly what Sister Sage was brought in for. She was like, this is fucking ridiculous. What are we doing? Like, what the fuck are you doing here? This isn't good. This is ridiculous. And Homelander immediately goes, yep, what she said. Don't like it.
Yeah,
Do something different.
that's what he said. But then but as the story plays out, we find that he's not happy about that change, because that's obviously why he then shows up.
He's trying so
Ryan's
hard to have Ryan love him.
Well, but he's also trying to make sure he still remains
In control.
not in control, but I guess important, because he's collecting gray hairs. We saw that from the get-go in a jar, so he knows.
Yeah, Ryan didn't get that. Ryan's like, what's with the gray hairs?
I was like, what is he holding it for? Like, you know, future clones?
No,
Or
because in his mind, he's like, I shouldn't have this. I'm perfect. Like, why am I aging? You know what I mean?
And
like,
so now, and then when Sister Sage coming in and say, oh well, and she actually says to him, well, Ryan's gonna be like your legacy or your whatever. So now he's like, well, fuck, I'm getting replaced now. I don't want to be replaced, even if it's by Ryan. Then he shows up to Ryan's first, filming, has, go ahead and kill him. It's okay. Just go ahead and do it. Does it. And then right after that, hey, here's a milkshake. And then Ryan's Ryan's like, I don't want a milkshake. He's like, well, you know what? You don't get a milkshake.
He took it from him. He was like,
awesome.
You don't get a milkshake now.
Oh,
if you're not going to be happy killing the stunt guy, you don't get a milkshake tonight.
So far, I think Anthony Starr as Homelander has been really good this season.
Yeah.
And then what was the girl's name? Firecracker.
Firecracker. Yeah.
Which
the
is
guy
perfect,
running
too.
a train on himself.
You know who I recognized her from?
That's
That's the dead dude's older sister from I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's the same actress.
Really?
Yep.
It is. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
The she's funny too, because again, she fits the role of like what you would see on social media right now, where it's someone just running this fucking just totally grifting off of this.
Yeah,
and,
sure.
and being like, oh, they're trying to lie to us, blah blah blah.
So not to make it too overtly political, but I did see earlier today that someone on the show confirmed that the inspiration behind her was in fact Marjorie Taylor Greene, and I laughed. I was like,
everything
spade
they've
is
done,
a spade, my guy.
Hey, everything they've done, it's always been an inspiration off of somebody. You know what I mean?
True.
So I thought that was great, but for this season, I think she's perfect. That character, I was like, yeah, this totally makes sense. And if you look at the 7 now, it's so fucking crazy.
There's not 7.
There's not
still
7.
6.
We got
Still
room
only
for
6.
one more.
There's
Room for one more.
And then I like what A-Train's doing, just
Ruthie.
kind of. The only thing I didn't like was that when he planted those guys in the crowd, they were like lined up in a row, and I was like, "What?" I was like, "That looks so fake."
I know, but it also shows you how stupid people are. They're just like, "Oh, look, they're dead,"
Yeah.
But I thought it was cool that Huey was gonna die, and then he saved him.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, A-Train.
That was actually good tension. That was of
Yeah.
Homelander, like he was there, and then the fucking the people on the ice, and that guy ran over that chick's like fingers and shit, and then
That was funny. That was
out.
all hilarious. Oh my god, that was.
And he chopped that one girl in half with his eye.
Let's not skin over the centipede reference in this whole debacle here.
Oh man,
I mean,
with-
hey, I'm
with
just saying.
Splinter?
I don't think
Yeah.
any one of us expected.
That's what you're talking about,
but
Pink Eye.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
pink
Yeah.
guy. It was not only that scene, but then when it carries on even more for the next 10 to 15
when he shows
minutes,
you how he does it.
yeah.
He's
Yeah.
naked and they're fighting him and gross.
And then they finally figured out, oh, we gotta kill the prime one. And then all
Well,
the other
he
ones
didn't
will
even know
die.
that. He just
Well, they
killed
didn't know
him.
that, but correct. I'm just saying we knew
Oh,
that
no,
once it happened.
Not the prime. I'll just die. I was like, oh shit, that was crazy.
Fucking, Mother's Milk, dude. The actor himself looks fucking old now.
Yeah, he lost
He lost
like
a lot of weight.
He
He
lost
lost
20
weight
or
in
30
space.
pounds.
I'm like,
yeah.
Well, there
wow.
were some people even questioning, is this even the same actor?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at first I did, but then I was like looking at his facial features, like, no, this is the guy.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
he lost
You know,
like 20 to
and,
30 pounds.
He looked
for the
so
season.
different. I was like,
Yeah,
man,
that's Laz Alonso. That dude's fucking rocking it this
But
season.
the scene you were talking about though, when when Huey's in the air ducts
yeah,
and he's like trying hard not to make noise, and you're just like, oh my god. Because
Yeah.
if you're up there, you're like, dude, if I make a fucking noise, I'm dead.
yeah.
And then
and-
he
and-
like drops a bit of sweat on Homelander, and Homelander just and says Campbell.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
You know, he's like, ah. But even that scene, I was like, oh my god, how's he gonna get out? And then what's the name? A-Train saved him.
A-Train to the rescue.
Yeah.
I like what they're doing with A-Train. I think that his conflict in what he's doing and with his own character, and I'm sorry, but I think his conflict with his own character and what his character has done is leagues better than what we're seeing from May's conflict in the Acolyte.
No.
I was just
Oh
like,
man,
oh,
they're two completely different shows.
they
I
are,
don't really think that's a fair
but still, like
comparison.
it's portrayed better.
Yeah. How
But then
dare
again,
you, Andre?
I know.
Well, in
Uh,
fairness, you've got at least
You got
3 or 4
three
seasons worth
yeah.
compared
Yeah.
to one. So
But,
Well,
uh,
A-Train's not making it out of this season. I'm calling it. He's gonna be one.
He
of the,
has to die.
I think he does die in the
Yeah.
comic. I think at
Yeah.
some point he does in fact die. So
Yeah.
because
it
they're
wouldn't shock me.
Homelander's gonna find out. He's working with MM and Butcher and all them, and
Yeah.
Homelander will end up taking him out.
Yeah.
Well,
I did
but
like
what-
Butcher and the cookies. I thought that was pretty cool. I like that scene.
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a good scene. Yeah.
Jeffrey D. Morgan's character has been good so far. He's the CIA agent.
he hasn't
Kessler?
done much.
He hasn't done much, but
He's
I mean,
talked to him.
it's been cool to see him in there though.
Like,
I'm
if you don't turn
yeah.
Ryan, I will. Talk to you later, buddy.
And with that premise, I think Butcher will be the one that takes him out because Butcher knows he wants to kill Ryan at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's plausible. Fun fact, my grandmother's maiden name is Kessler, so I wonder if there's some kind of relation going on
Oh God.
there. Oh man. But yeah, no, I like Jeffrey Dean Morgan as an actor. And
And-
obviously, there's some supernatural pedigree going on there because Eric Kripke and he was the showrunner of Supernatural for a long time. And Jeffrey Dean Morgan famously was on that show. So
Well,
I think at this point everyone's just kind of waiting for Jared Padalecki to make an appearance now too.
I know he might as well, right?
Yeah.
I'm really hoping that I don't know so much about this season, but I hope that at some point at the end of this season or next season that Soldier Boy comes back.
I would love to
Because
see.
they put him back on ice for a reason,
Yeah.
He was the best thing about last season. I loved his character. Oh my god, it was so good.
Yes.
No, America's dad is Bill Cosby.
Yeah.
No, just Bill Cosby is America's dad. He's like, that
Boy doesn't
guy, he
come
can make some strong drinks.
Soldier Boy doesn't come back between now and then season 5 being the last season. That's just the biggest disappointment.
I think he'll be back.
He,
I mean, he had an appearance in Gen V, so
he did.
Yeah.
When when they're in the woods, he's like we got he kept looking back at where Butcher was at laying down. He's like, Jesus Christ, how hard was it? What? How hard did he suck you off? He's like, why is everything that comes out of your mouth is so disgusting?
I do think that
Their dynamic was great with Huey and Soldier Boy because they're the exact opposite of each other.
Yeah.
right. I do
was
think
great.
that since Gen V, the ending of Gen V kind of implies that one or two of those characters will come into play as the next member of the Seven. I think we're going to see that paid off because in one of the trailers they did show like one of the characters from Gen V in this season. So I think we're going to see that trickle in from the first season of Gen V.
Well, the main character, Marie Monroe, I think, Marie Moreau, She should show up in this. If not, what's the other girl?
I think
the-
the young
the-
blonde who lost her arm, I think she's supposed to be in this season of The Boys, because I think it might have been her I saw, but I could be wrong.
I'm looking at the characters right now. Kate Dunlap. She was actually really good too. Yeah, she lost her arm.
Yeah, she got her arm fucking blown off. That was
I
something.
was like, holy shit. But so far it's been a lot of fun, and we watched all 3 episodes back to back to back. I'm glad we did that because it was a lot cooler just to be fully immersed in it.
Yeah.
And that was cool. You know, I really like that. You know, the thing about Butcher dying, it makes you wonder too, because Newman, and for that matter, Marie Moreau from Gen V, have the same ability. So literally, like, they could likely take out whatever is killing him out of his bloodstream. And I wonder if they're going to do that. I don't
theory.
think they will, but they're going to do something to make sure that he's alive in the next season, because next season's the last season.
Well, they seem to be following certain beats of the book, and I know for sure that Butcher does die in the book at some point too. I think in the book he kind of takes it upon himself to take himself out. Whether or not that will transpire either this season or next, I couldn't tell you. But I am banking on the idea that Butcher will not make it out of this season, and if he does, he's for sure dying next season.
Oh yeah, he's gonna die regardless.
He's gonna die.
I think.
Yeah,
But
I think he'll make it to next season just to keep viewers continuing.
Carl Urban is
Carl
huge.
Urban's a pretty big draw for
Yeah.
that. You're not wrong. Yeah.
Do you guys think that what's the kid's name again?
Ryan.
You think that Ryan has there's a chance that Ryan will end up becoming what Homelander was supposed to be at the end of the show, where like, because he's seeing where all of Homelander's
like Gotham.
faults. Well, yeah, I'm saying like he's seeing all of Homelander's faults. He's seeing how fake Vought is with all the superheroes and all that shit. He's seeing all the dark side of everything, and I feel like there's a potential where once he figures out his abilities, that like the show will end with him actually being like their version of Superman, where he's like, I don't work for Vought. I don't, I'm a superhero that you cannot stop, and I'm gonna do the right thing. Like, he becomes the actual Superman of this world. I think that'd be kind of cool.
I do feel like, given Annie January's kind of stance, being, kind of removed from Vought after, 3 seasons and kind of fighting against them, and given the way Butcher is probably going to go out, I could see a situation where Ryan gets kind of taken in by Huey and Annie January by the end of it all, and they're kind of his de facto mom and pa Kent, more or less. That way he's got like those two sides of, human foster father and superhero foster mom. Like, I could see that being a thing. But ultimately, yeah, I do think that they are kind of positioning Ryan to be more or less like this universe's version of a Superman. I think that's entirely plausible.
And I know Gavin's saying he doesn't like all the gore, but like I love it. I think.
Well,
man,
it's
so
part of
good.
the show. It's
part of the show.
One of the things.
So awesome.
Yeah, you just kind of
So
expect
funny.
it.
So great. So
like,
evil. So twisted.
I want
so...
you to go over there, and I want you to get on your knees and blow him. I was like, whoa, what? But what's crazy is that, like, okay, and I know Ryan didn't like this, was the octopus.
Oh god,
that he
I like the octopus. I like the octopus in the last, in the last season when we're like, oh, okay, he's getting sucked off by an octopus.
You know who voiced the octopus this time, right?
Who was it?
It's Tilda Swinton.
Who's that?
Tilda Swinton?
Oh,
okay. You just lost your nerd card.
She played Gabriel, and then
she was the ancient one in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, that's who it is. Yes,
she played the Ice Witch in
Narnia.
There you go.
Yeah.
She's like, I hear you
She's
out
done a
there. Can you please take me out? Oh, she's like, you haven't cleaned my tank. It's an algae buildup. He's like, okay, I hear what you're saying. I'm busy right now. Stop. He's gonna end up killing it. He's
gonna end up eating her.
Oh, last season, like they take off the lid. He's like, huh, it's Timothy. He's begging for his life.
Yeah.
And his wife, like, she texts
His
him,
kids.
eat the fucking squid.
Yeah.
His kids. That's why he's still alive, because when it comes down to it, it's all about him. So he's just like, fuck it, I'm not gonna die. I'm just gonna eat Timothy.
Yeah.
And he's also just like this kind of womanizing sack of shit because he walks up to Sister Sage at the end of the 3rd episode. He's like, "Yo, what the fuck? You totally just undercut me like that." And she's like, "Yeah, sorry, whatever. You want some food? You want to watch some TV? Just totally play it off like, yeah, whatever. You want to watch some TV or whatever."
That's what won him over. It was the blooming onion. That's what won him
Yeah,
over.
he's like,
True,
is that a blooming onion
true.
from Outback?
And then he
Sure
was like,
is.
"You know, I thought you were a bitch, but you're kind of cool." And then she goes, "Yeah, you're kind of hot."
Well, and so like,
Made me
I
laugh so
thought that
much.
scene in general, like, I think it shows that even like Sister Sage being how smart she is, that was like the one time that like she kind of let herself become vulnerable, because I think the overall stress, anxiety of the position that she's in, she sort of like let that go. And so she just wanted something to be normal. She wanted something to feel like it's a normal thing. Like, hey, you want to watch Transformers too? You know, like she was looking to escape.
Yeah.
And he's such a douchebag that, like, you know, that he was like, oh, I'll fuck you, you know, and you know, I'll make out with you and whatnot. And you know, but that's the problem though, is that if she divulges anything to him, he's going to fucking spill the beans like immediately
To save his own hide. Yeah.
To save his own hide.
Oh, for sure.
And it's like you were saying, like, you know, it's apparent now that she likes douchebags, and so he fits the bill immediately. And so she was just like, oh yeah, that's going to be her demise. Is that she's going to tell him something that he's going to relay back to Homelander, and then it's going to be something bad.
Oh yeah, absolutely, no doubt about it.
There's a lot of elements in this show so far that I've liked, and especially like what we're talking about how Homelander, you know, she wanted to remain in the shadows, Sister Sage.
Yeah, right.
Instead, he fucking made her dress up in front of all the cameras and shit. She's like, I want to remain in the shadows, you know, just kind of like in the background. No, of course not. Who doesn't like fame? Come on. You know what I mean? He was basically like, no, fuck you. You're not going to be hiding in the background. I want to make sure that everybody knows who you are and where you are all the time. So that was great because she has no powers.
Yeah.
So she couldn't physically stop him. So she was like, oh shit.
Right. Yeah, I do think that she's been described as like Homelander's foil for the season, and you can kind of see that given the way her character operates. She's very much one of those like Ozymandias, Lex Luthor-ish kind of intelligent characters.
Yes.
So I do like that there's a spin there going on with that, and it's completely different than what Homelander's used to. Because obviously, with like season 1, it was like Homelander and Butcher. Then in season 2, it was fucking Stormfront. Then season 3, you had Soldier Boy. Now we've got someone who's hyper intelligent and just makes him look like a fool and tells it to him straight. And he's like, oh no, I want this. I think that's going to come bite him in the ass, where he's going to be like, I'm not sure I want this anymore because I fucking hate it. My ego won't allow me to accept what she is saying. So I with these new characters, it's usually like every time there's a new character in the boys, you can almost guarantee they're going to be gone by the end of the season. Just a matter of how, right?
I mean, even the other speedster, like he got his head popped.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah,
it was like, oh god, there he goes. But the thing with Sister Sage is that she may actually end up getting or meeting the same demise as something we saw in the Justice League storyboards from Lex Luthor, where she might end up doing something where she thinks like, yeah, like I did it, I came out on top, and now I'm safe, and then she ends up getting killed horribly, dies a horrible death. Like, oh,
quite
fuck.
possible, yeah.
Because all she has is her intelligence to defend herself. And
well,
so
like
I think,
look at what Homelander did to that one person who called into Starlight's safe house. He fucking asked the question, got the information, then immediately fucking lasered her.
She was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, so Homelander has no problem like lying about like, "Oh yeah, I'll keep you alive." No, he won't. He'll fucking
He
kill
fucking
you.
blew a hole right through her head.
Right.
It's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
But yeah, so check out season 4 of The Boys. There's a new episode coming out tonight. Sean and I will be watching it.
Tomorrow. Oh, well, is it
No, it's
midnight
at
tonight?
Midnight.
It midnight?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so on the West Coast, we can watch it at midnight. So if you're down to watch The Boys episode 4, tune in tonight, and we'll be watching the episode live on X and on Twitch as well.
And then y'all watch the after show after that, or
What?
Is you said something about there was like an after show?
No, we do an after.
We do an
show.
after
Okay. So
Yarp.
cool.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't know if I'll be awake to watch it, but I
There you
might
go, Ryan.
might stay
Ryan
up to
just had
watch
to
it. We'll see what happens.
derail
Sorry,
the show.
I know.
Shame on you! Shame on you! Go f yourself!
I know you did the watch party. I didn't know if you like stayed up and like.
We usually talk about it for like a half hour or so afterwards.
Yeah.
Nice.
Last time we did a short one because I mean we watched 3 episodes in a row. I'm like,
Right.
Yeah, Andre was
Well,
spent.
yeah, I was like, I'm falling apart.
I was
But
like,
I'm
I really
glad
like
we
the
did.
episode.
Sean doesn't sleep. He just puts on Joker right afterwards.
Yeah, I know.
No.
Oh,
It's
oh,
like-
oh man.
Never fail
He's
with
got
that.
it on
It's
loop.
Beautiful.
it's on loop.
He's
Beautiful.
looping
I
it.
love it. Love the
So
commitment.
real quick, as we begin to wrap things up, let's touch on another show that 3 of us are into, which is House of the Dragon season 2.
So guys,
Ryan,
I am
you
going
start
to
drawing now.
So real quick, I am going to need to drop. So
Okay.
but
Okay,
but Andre, I'll see
we
you.
should just drop then.
Let's
Yeah, just go ahead.
I don't have anything to say for the House of the Dragon. I'm
Yeah.
not watching it.
But
watch House of the Dragon. It's really cool. I
Andre, I'll
love it.
catch you. Andre, I'll catch you tonight.
Okay.
All right, man. See
All
you
right.
Sean.
Later.
later.
Take care.
What? Why did Ryan leave? I think he
And there
thought
were
we were
two.
going to talk about House of the
Probably.
Dragon.
Yeah.
So real quick,
probably.
let's just cover it real quick. House of the Dragon. I thought this episode was really cool. I liked where it went. I liked the dynamics between the characters. I liked the entire episode. I thought it was really, really cool.
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
Um,
I don't disagree. I think it was a strong season opener. I like that Rhaenyra had 4 lines in the entire episode.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
all of her act, all of Emma Darcy's acting was entirely through their emotion in their eyes. That was fucking phenomenal.
Well, and then the other girl, I forgot her name. She was smart to remove herself because she's trying to tell fucking the other guy. I don't know their names very well. She was trying to tell Matt, what's his name? What the actor who plays the guy with the long hair?
Oh, that's Damon.
Damon. She was trying to tell Damon.
Matt Smith. Yeah.
Matt Smith. Yeah, she was trying to tell Damon, like, dude, like, she just lost her fucking kid. Like, give her a moment. Like, what are you talking about? And I liked
Rhaenys. Yeah, her aunt. Yeah.
And so I loved and her scene last season when she came flying into King's Landing and was threatening. That was a badass scene. I was like,
That was
holy
awesome.
fuck. Because basically she was just like, I could fucking kill every one of you right now. But anyway, I like how she defended her in that right. And then later on when they finally got Rhaenyra to be a part of their council, she was just like, she basically told them, I want so and so, like, dead.
I want Aemon Targaryen. Yeah.
Yeah, I want Aemon Targaryen, and that's all that's all it was. It wasn't about no, I want to take King's Landing or I want to take this. I want to destroy. No, it was like I just want him.
Yeah. And then Damon was like, "Oh, let me go put my murder cloak on real quick."
Yeah, and so he goes in there, and what do? They fucking kill the wrong kid. They kill another kid.
Well, they do say, "What if we can't find Aemon?" And then Damon says, "A son for a son."
Yeah.
So he makes it clear, like, if you don't find him, fuck it, whatever. Find a kid, do whatever you want to do, right? And what's even funnier is, like, I guess people online, certain fans are like having a hiss fit of the way this was played out in the show, because in the book it's a lot more fucking gruesome in Fire and Blood.
But here's the thing, though, is that if you're gonna be killing a kid, you don't want. I'm sorry, you can't really have. I mean, you can only go so far.
Right.
If it was killing
I
a
agree.
person, you can do whatever the fuck you want, or like an adult. But I mean, even when they killed what's his name, Roy Stark, and his pregnant wife, and they're stabbing her in the belly, it was like
Rob Stark, yeah.
yeah,
Rob
I was
Stark,
like Rob Stark, yeah, I was like, oh my god,
Yeah.
the Red Wedding, and that was like tragic. It was like, oh my god,
I think the Red Wedding was probably as gruesome as
Yeah.
that show got. Right, like that.
And
That
then-
was probably the most graphic and violent
and
deaths
she gets
and
her
murder you
throat
saw.
slit as the last shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Right.
It was
But
like,
like-
oh,
But like, to your point, killing a child on screen, that's a whole fucking different conversation.
yeah,
right?
it is.
And the way it happened in the book, apparently Alicent Hightower was like present when all of this happened. Like she's bound and gagged. Her handmaiden was like fucking like strangled to death. And then once Helena comes in, she's like held at like throat knife point, and she's told like, pick one of your boys is going to die. And then she picks one, and then whoever kills the kid is like, oh, well, they lean into the kid that they think is going to die, and then they go, oh, your mommy wants you to die, and then they just straight up behead the other kid. And it's
wow,
gruesome in the book. The way they did it in the show, I think, was a little bit more appropriate for television audiences.
So.
You know what I mean?
So.
But like the big kicker for me was having Helena carry her daughter through the castle and then coming into Allison's chamber with her fucking Kirsten Cole. I was like,
oh yeah,
oh,
she was like, oh shit.
She was like,
that was great. I was like,
it was one what the fuck leading into another bigger.
Yeah.
It was two back to back.
That was great. That was great. I was like, oh fuck, she's in the bed with her.
I also really like that the first time you saw Allison Hightower in season 2, she's getting pleasure from Kristen Cole.
that guy, he's gonna die eventually.
Oh, for sure. For sure. He's still so mad about what happened to Rhaenyra. He's literally just doing this just for that fucking fuck you, Rhaenyra. That's all he's doing this for. You can tell.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Because they were a thing, and then she was just like, yeah, no, I'm not. I can't do this. But overall, though, it's been really, really good. I enjoyed the first episode, and the first episode had so many elements to it that it felt like I watched 2 episodes, but it was one. There's so much happened in the episode, and again, this was my complaint about Star Wars, is that like I want Star Wars to feel like House of the Dragon. I mean, I want it to feel like that kind of cinematic feel to it. I think that'd be really cool. But overall, I thought this was a great episode to start off the kickoff season 2.
Yep,
and I can't wait till Sunday, because I'm definitely I can't wait to see it. It's so good.
Yeah, I can't wait to see more of a Murder Cloak Daemon. I'm curious to see like what's gonna happen when, if and when her and Aemon Targaryen like come face to face with each other. Like, how is that conversation gonna play out? Like, I'm also very curious to see how Team Green responds to the death of a child, because obviously that's gonna have some ramifications.
Yeah,
to it,
because I mean, they're gonna strike back somehow, some way, very violently. So I think the next episode or the one after is gonna have some huge consequences.
They really did kind of set the stage for a fucking hell of a season, I think. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes. And it's only 8 episodes, I think, for this season too. It's not 10 like it was for first season. There's only 8 episodes this season.
Sucks. Oh well. Yeah, it is what it is. But guys, that's going to do it for the 4 Nerds. I want to thank Ryan and Sean for coming out. Obviously, Phil, he's still here right now. You can follow us all on social media, and you can follow Phil's articles on multiverseofcolor.com, and he has reviews of how many now do you have?
So I review the Acolyte, I review the Boys, and I review House of the Dragon. Everything we talked about today, you can find my reviews on multiverseofcolor.com. I reviewed the first 3 episodes of the Boys, I reviewed the first episode of House of Dragon, and I've been reviewing the Acolyte since it came out. So yep.
There you go. And then you can find me and all my content if you go to the website, nicotina.net. That gives you access to all 3 of my channels. Also, there's communities for all 3 channels as well that you can join and interact with me and everyone else who's already a part of that community. I post stuff in there every single day. That's where I spend a lot of time, is just posting stuff, articles and updates and all that stuff on the website at nicotina.com. Also download the Collab app. That app will allow you to interact with me on the website community if you download the Collab app after you already registered for become a member of the community. Memberships are available as well on the website. It's better to go through the website because I don't have to share the proceeds with YouTube. But if you want, you can also become a member on YouTube as well at the Nicotina Network channel. Phil, we'll see you next week. I think we're going to have another exciting week, knowing that we have 3 shows to talk about every week. That definitely makes each episode a whole lot better.
And of course, whatever news is to come out of, be it James Gunn, Marvel Studios, or, Amazon, whichever the big names, we'll probably be here to talk about it if anything happens.
Absolutely.
As always.
All right, guys, we'll catch you next time. Peace.